Chapter 2384. A few days later, Emperor Heng, Emperor Tianluo, and the others contacted the Mu clan, and the two sides naturally hit it off. However, the Mu family appeared to be more cautious. They planned to invite the assassins of the Death God Nation to kill Lu Ming. As such, Emperor Heng, Emperor Tianluo, and the others were naturally overjoyed. With the Death God Nation taking action, it would save them a lot of trouble. Naturally, Lu Ming did not know about all this. He stayed in the ancient Moon Holy Land for more than 10 days, then headed towards the Azure Continent. With his speed, he soon arrived in the Azure Continent. Now, the entire Tsang region was under the control of the Dragon God Valley, and it was a scene of prosperity. Lu Ming flew directly to Dragon God Valley. At the moment, a conference was being held in Dragon God Valley. At the peak of a mountain, there was an empty square. In the middle of the square, there was a fighting stage. On it, two figures were fighting fiercely. If Lu Ming was here, he would definitely recognize the figure on the fighting ring. It was Fatty Kong Jin. The other person was Lu Ming's senior brother, Tian Shui. The two's attacks were both direct, fighting head-on. Boom! Boom! One of them was holding a battle axe, while the other was holding a giant hammer. They kept bombarding, triggering a terrifying force. Kong Jin's cultivation base had improved greatly after not seeing him for so many years. He had already broken through to the Great Sage realm. However, Tian Shui was naturally stronger than Kong Jin. He seemed to be at ease as he completely suppressed Kong Jin. There were many people sitting on the edge of the fighting ring. It was Lu Ming's master, the Cloud Dragon Valley Master. There was also Xiao Wan from the Divine Wilderness Continent, the Nine Suns Supreme, Yan Kuangtu, and the others. The Dragon God Valley had sent people to the Divine Wilderness mainland, and the two places had already been connected. Kong Jin and Tian Shui exchanged a few dozen moves. Kong Jin was completely suppressed. In the end, he was struck by Tian Shui's hammer and was sent rolling on the ground, his fat shaking non-stop. "I'm done, I'm done. I'm not your match. Let's fight again after a while," Kong Jin shouted. "Weren't you very arrogant before?" "Ha ha ha." Tian Shui laughed. "Humph, you've been cultivating in the Yuan continent since you were young. Isn't it normal for your cultivation to be stronger than mine?" Kong Jin pursed his lips. "Ha, fatty, you got beaten up, didn't you?" At this moment, a clear and bright laughter came from the sky. Upon hearing this laughter, Fatty's eyes widened. Then, he was overjoyed and shouted, "Lu Ming! Haha! It's you, Lu Ming! Where have you been all these years?" At the same time, the eyes of Tian Shui, the Cloud Dragon Valley Master, Xiao Wan, Xia Jiuyang, and the others also lit up as they looked up into the sky. There was no one in the sky. However, the next moment, a figure flashed and Lu Ming's figure appeared out of thin air. No one could see clearly how Lu Ming appeared. Lu Ming! It's really Lu Ming! Many people were overjoyed and rose into the air. "Master, thank you, Senior Jiuyang, Big Brother Yan." Lu Ming cupped his fists and bowed to everyone. "Lu Ming, where have you been? You've been gone for more than 20 years and you're nowhere to be seen." Kong Jin pursed his lips and walked over to give Lu Ming a punch. "I went to the Heaven Realm, and now I'm back to see you." Lu Ming smiled. "Heaven Realm?" Kong Jin's eyes lit up. "You actually went to the Heaven Realm. How is it? Are there a lot of Heaven Realm experts?" "There are naturally many experts. Martial emperors are everywhere," Lu Ming said. The others all revealed looks of anticipation. "Ming, how's your cultivation?" the Cloud Dragon Valley Master asked. Many people also looked at Lu Ming. They had heard rumors that Lu Ming could not become a martial emperor. "Don't worry, Master, I've already become an emperor," Lu Ming said with a smile. "All right." The Cloud Dragon Valley Master was overjoyed. Congratulations, Alliance Master. Xiao Wan, Xia Jiuyang, and the others were also overjoyed. The scene was filled with joy. Oh right, where are my parents and the rest? Are they still in the Divine Wilderness continent? Lu Ming asked. No, they came to the Yuan continent. I don't know why, but the passageway in Nine Dragons suddenly collapsed. The original qi in the Divine Wilderness continent has become thin again. Now, many people from the Dragon Alliance have come to the Yuan continent to cultivate. Xiao Wan explained. Lu Ming nodded. This was within his expectations. Soon after, the news of Lu Ming's return spread quickly. Dragon God Valley was bustling with activity. The people from Dragon God Valley and the Dragon Alliance had also gathered. Not long after, Lu Ming met his parents and some other acquaintances. I've come back this time to bring you to another place with better conditions to cultivate. It was still the same square, but this time, countless people had gathered. Lu Ming stood at the highest point and said. Change location. Ming where do you plan to go? The Cloud Dragon Valley Master asked. The head of the 9 sacred lands of Mount Yuan, Heavenly Emperor City. Lu Ming spoke word by word. The cultivation environment in the Azure region was still too poor. This time, Lu Ming had returned to the Heavenly Emperor City. Lu Ming would get rid of the Hang family and the He family in Heaven Emperor City and use them to settle the people of Dragon God Valley and Dragon Alliance. Heavenly Emperor City. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master's eyes lit up. Such a sacred land was simply unimaginable to them. Lu Ming could actually bring them to the Heavenly Emperor City. Now, everyone can enter my small world. As soon as Lu Ming finished speaking, a small world emerged in his dantian. Lu Ming was surrounded by the dazzling divine light of the world. World Divine Light, True Emperor Realm, this is a true emperor. The true emperor of the legends. The scene was in an uproar. Everyone was shocked and ecstatic. Lu Ming's father, Lu Yuntian, and mother, Li Ping, were especially overjoyed. The higher Lu Ming's achievements were, the happier they would be. To the people of the Azure continent or the Divine Wilderness continent, a void emperor was a supreme existence, let alone a true emperor. In the past, they had never even heard of such a thing. The small world grew bigger and bigger. In the end, it became 100 miles wide and covered the sky above the square. Let's go in. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master, Xiao Wan, and the others were the first to rush into Lu Ming's small world. Behind them, Lu Ming's parents and the others also rushed in. Many figures rushed into Lu Ming's small world and disappeared. Not long after, hundreds of thousands of people entered Lu Ming's small world. When everyone had entered Lu Ming's small world, the small world shrank and flew back into Lu Ming's dantian. Lu Ming's soul force was condensed in the small world and it was no different from a real person. What a rich origin energy. The origin energy here is even richer than the one in the Azure region. This must be Lu Ming's small world. It's so vast. Everyone looked at it carefully and flew around curiously. Lu Ming's small world was 700,000 miles wide. Although it was considered small and not worth mentioning compared to the big world outside, it was more than enough for him to cultivate here. When Lu Ming led the group to the path understanding ancient tree, everyone was shocked. This was because their cultivation speed had skyrocketed here. Some of them had comprehended something on the spot and made a breakthrough in their cultivation. Holy land for cultivation. Many people didn't want to go out. Chapter 2385. After that, everyone began to make arrangements. The Valley Master of Cloud Dragon Valley had sent some people to collect some of the Dragon God's resources in the Azure region and put them into Lu Ming's small world. For example, he planted some spiritual herbs and sacred herbs in Lu Ming's small world. Now, Lu Ming's small world had taken shape. After decades of reproduction, green grass was everywhere and the trees had grown up. Some of them were even more than 100 meters tall. There were also all kinds of spiritual and sacred herbs among the mountains. Lu Ming had even bought a large number of low-level demonic beasts and sent them to his small world, making it look lively. It seemed like it was no different from a normal world. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master left a small group of people behind in the Azure region. The rest entered Lu Ming's small world, planning to move. After he was done with the Azure continent, Lu Ming made another trip to the Divine Wilderness continent. Lu Ming's appearance naturally caused a stir in the Divine Wilderness continent. Now that the Divine Wilderness continent was completely under the control of the Dragon Alliance, Lu Ming asked the higher-ups of the Dragon Alliance to gather all the talented people in the alliance. After asking for everyone's opinion, those who were willing to leave with Lu Ming entered Lu Ming's small world. Naturally, most of them were willing to leave. On the path of cultivation, everyone wanted to climb higher mountains, leave the Divine Wilderness, and enter a better place for cultivation. Who would not be willing? Once everything was ready, Lu Ming left the Divine Wilderness continent and returned to the Azure continent. He did not even look back as he headed towards the Ancient Moon Holy Land. He planned to first go to Ancient Moon Holy Land, then head to Heaven Emperor City to deal with the Han clan and He clan. However, just as Lu Ming was about to approach the Ancient Moon Sanctuary, his gaze suddenly flickered. This was because Lu Ming could sense a cold killing intent in the sky. Whoosh! At this moment, a sword light suddenly pierced out of the void at an extremely fast speed. This sword was a one-hit kill. It was fast, accurate, and ruthless. Its power was extremely strong. The sword light contained the aura of the Great Tao. The assassin was a great emperor. As soon as the sword light appeared, a terrifying murderous aura gushed out, and the sword light was already approaching Lu Ming's glabella. However, Lu Ming's expression was very calm. He had limited the timing of his attack. Before the other party's sword light could reach his forehead, he had already caught the sword light between his two fingers. Then, the sword light was fixed in place, unable to move forward. The person who had stabbed out with the sword was a man in black. He wore a mask on his face, the mask of the Grim Reaper. At this moment, the black-clothed man's pupils contracted sharply. The sure kill move that he had been preparing for a long time was caught between two of Lu Ming's fingers. No matter how he unleashed his power, Lu Ming's fingers and his long sword could not move at all. What a terrifying strength! He understood that Lu Ming's ability was too terrifying. It did not match the information they had received. Retreat! He let out a loud roar, then let go of the long sword in his hand and retreated as fast as he could. He had the cultivation of a great emperor and he was extremely fast. However, Lu Ming was faster than him. Lu Ming's figure flashed and appeared behind him. He extended a palm and clasped his neck. A terrifying power surged into the man in black. His body was sore and he could not move at all. At this moment, he was extremely frightened. His cultivation base was 1-star Great Emperor. With his cultivation level, he could not put up any resistance at all in Lu Ming's hands. How was this possible? How could Lu Ming's ability be so strong? The Death God Nation, hee, it's too late to leave now. Lu Ming sneered and looked ahead. Then, the muscles in his body trembled and his figure burst out. In an instant, he had covered an unknown distance. There was also a man in black in front of him. He was wearing a mask of the Grim Reaper and was fleeing frantically. This person's cultivation was stronger than the man in black in Lu Ming's hands. He was actually a 2-star Great Emperor. However, he didn't dare to stay any longer. A 1-star Great Emperor was as weak as a baby in Lu Ming's hands. Lu Ming's strength was definitely far above that of a 2-star Great Emperor. He could only run, or else he would die. However, escaping was also a dead end. Boom! Lu Ming threw a punch and a terrifying fist force crushed the void. The man in black, who was running away, felt a fatal threat. He exploded with all his strength and slashed backward. This sword was not weak, but it could not withstand a single blow from Lu Ming's fist force. The fist force crushed over and the sword chi collapsed. The black-clothed man's body also exploded under this attack and turned into ashes. A 2-star Great Emperor was killed in one hit. The eyes of the man in black in Lu Ming's hands widened. Damn it, I've been tricked. The man roared in his heart. They had received news that Lu Ming's strength was only equivalent to that of a 1-star Great Emperor. However, he had a celestial thearch's physical body, which was extremely powerful. However, in the eyes of these assassins, what they valued was the other party's own strength. External forces were useless. They could kill in one strike, but even with the celestial emperor's corporeal body, they couldn't use it. However, Lu Ming's strength was far beyond that of a 1-star Great Emperor. Even a 3-star Great Emperor wasn't that powerful. He was practically a high-tier Great Emperor. The Death God Nation. Speak. Who sent you to kill me? Lu Ming looked at the man in black in his hands and said coldly. Don't even think about getting any information from me. The man in black said. Oh, really? I'm sorry, Lu Ming said indifferently. He used his world energy and the other party's mask turned to dust, revealing a pale middle-aged man's face. Boom! Lu Ming suddenly made a move. The power of the law was like a knife and cut off one of the other party's arms. However, the other party only grunted and didn't even frown. These assassins had gone through strict training and had a tough mind. Moreover, the other party was a great emperor. You don't have to waste your time, just kill me. The other party looked at Lu Ming coldly. It's not that easy to die. Lu Ming said coldly, then punched the person's dantian. The terrifying power directly tore the person's small world apart and completely crippled his cultivation. With his cultivation crippled, the man let out a furious roar and glared at Lu Ming with bloodshot eyes. To a great emperor, having his cultivation crippled after a lifetime of bitter cultivation was worse than death. Are you going to tell me or not? Lu Ming said coldly. I won't tell you, just give up. The man in black roared. If you don't tell me, they'll have to search your soul. Having said that, Lu Ming pointed his finger between the other party's eyebrows and a powerful force surged in. He was going to search her soul and find out the secrets she knew. At the same time, Lu Ming wanted to find the headquarters of the Death God Nation and destroy this force in one fell swoop. This was not the first time that this faction had sent people to assassinate him. Back then, before the Battle of the 10 Lands, he had been assassinated by this force and he had almost died. If Xian Yanqing had not given him the scapegoat demon chief, he would have been in real danger. He had long wanted to get rid of this force. Chapter 2386. Lu Ming pointed his finger between the man's eyebrows. A powerful force and Lu Ming's own soul energy surged into the man's sea of consciousness and rushed to his soul to search it. However, when Lu Ming's soul neared the other party's soul, his expression changed. This was because he felt a terrifying dark power near the other party's soul. When Lu Ming's soul force approached, the dark energy burst out and devoured the man's soul. The man in black let out a shrill scream and his body struggled violently. In just a few breaths, his soul had disappeared without a trace. Lu Ming's energy was withdrawn and his expression was a little gloomy. Someone had set up a restriction near the soul of the man in black. Once someone searched his soul, the restriction would explode and destroy the soul of the person being searched. No wonder the Death God Nation was so mysterious. For so many years, no one had been able to find the Death God Nation's headquarters. At this moment, the man in black had completely turned into an idiot. Lu Ming waved his hand and threw the man in black away. He then fell into deep thought. The Death God Nation wouldn't attack me for no reason. Someone must have hired an assassin from the Death God Nation. Who is it? In the primordial realm, the most likely ones are the Hang family, the He family, and the Daluo Heaven sect. However, the Death God Nation is a huge force in the land of divine destiny, with many experts. The Hang family, the He family, and the Daluo Heaven sect don't have such power, so the Mu family. Many thoughts ran through Lu Ming's mind as he deduced the matter, however, one can't rule out the possibility that other forces want to get rid of me, or that it's an expert from the heaven realm who wants to get rid of me. I have to investigate this matter clearly. The Death God Nation failed to kill me this time, but I guess there will be a next time. I'll find someone to help me. At the thought of this, Lu Ming continued to move forward and entered the ancient Moon Holy Land. He returned to the Dian Elixir Palace to let everyone know that he was back. Then, he used the Divine Breath technique to change his appearance and left the Dian Elixir Palace. He came to the passage he had returned from the Heaven Realm last time. Through the passage, Lu Ming arrived at the Tai Ching Heavenly Region and directly sent a voice transmission to Dandan. Dandan was full of tricks and had many means, so she might have a way to find out. At the same time, Lu Ming also sent a voice transmission to Bubbles. Bubbles' current spacetime law was already extremely profound, so she might be able to help. Not long after, Dandan and Bubbles arrived one after another. Brother Lu Ming. Bubbles hung around Lu Ming's neck the moment she saw him. Lu Ming, why are you looking for me? Dandan asked casually. It had only been a short time since they last met, but Dandan's cultivation had broken through again and reached 7 stars Great Emperor. I need your help. Lu Ming said. Ha ha ha, one knew you had something to ask me for help. You've come to the right person. Tell me, what is it? Dandan grinned, looking very proud of herself. Lu Ming immediately told him what had happened. There's actually someone who wants to harm Brother Lu Ming. Let's go and destroy them. Bubbles was extremely displeased after hearing that. Brat, you want me to search your soul and find the mastermind behind this and the headquarters of the Death God Nation? Dandan asked. Not bad. Lu Ming nodded. It's very difficult to set up a restriction in the soul to search it. Dandan frowned. Didn't you say I found the right person? Lu Ming was full of disdain. Dandan's eyes widened and she said, What? You've underestimated me. Let me tell you, although this matter is difficult, it's not difficult for me. However, I still need the help of this little fellow. Then, Dandan looked at Bubbles. You need Bubbles' help? Lu Ming was puzzled. That's right, we'll know when the time comes. Let's go. Dandan said. Wait a minute, just in case, let's get 2 more helpers. Lu Ming said. Then, he sent another message. Not long after, the void flickered and 2 figures appeared. The 2 figures were Earth One and Thunder One. Lu Ming was worried that there were powerhouses from the Heaven Realm involved. Therefore, he had called for Earth One and Thunder One just in case. Greetings, young master. Earth One and Thunder One bowed. Lu Ming immediately told him what had happened. Earth One, Thunder One, the 2 of you enter my small world first to avoid alerting the enemy. Lu Ming said. All right. Earth One and Thunder One nodded and then entered Lu Ming's small world. Lu Ming asked Dandan to enter the small world as well. He brought Bubbles along and returned to the primordial realm through the passage. He returned to the Dian Elixir Hall quietly. After returning to the Dian Elixir Palace, Lu Ming stayed for more than 10 days before he set off for the Heavenly Emperor City. He was deliberately giving the other party time to react. Lu Ming swaggered around without hiding his appearance and aura. As expected, he encountered another assassination on the way. This time, the Death God Nation had dispatched 3 experts with shockingly high cultivation. One was a 4-star Great Emperor, while the other 2 were 3-star Great Emperors. It was obvious that the last time the Death God server failed in their assassination attempt, the 2 experts had not returned. This made them cautious, and this time, they sent out 3 experts. Even a 4-star Great Emperor would be in danger if they were to be assassinated by such a lineup. There was a high chance that they would die. Unfortunately, they had encountered Lu Ming. This battle was also a crushing defeat. The 4-star Great Emperor was killed by Lu Ming with a few punches. The 2 3-star Great Emperors were also severely injured by Lu Ming's punches. One of them had his cultivation crippled by Lu Ming. He had all his movements sealed and was thrown on the ground. Lu Ming interrogated the other party. As expected, the other party did not say a word. With a thought, Dandan's figure appeared. "Dandan, what should we do?" Lu Ming asked. "There are restrictions in their souls, so it's very difficult to search their souls. Once any force approaches their souls will self-destruct, so my method doesn't go through their souls. Every living being's brain has countless tiny meridians. Some meridians are called memory meridians and have the ability to remember. My method is to control the person's consciousness through an array and let bubbles use the time backtrack technique. Through the person's memory nerves, I can see what happened in the past." Dandan explained. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Indeed, this method was definitely feasible. With Bubbles' control over the spacetime law, it was not a problem for her to perform time backtrack. "You guys," on the side, the 3-star Great Emperor who wasn't crippled was shocked. He wanted to struggle, but he was stomped to death by Dandan. Then, Dandan began to set up the formation. One rune after another entered the other's body. A moment later, the other party's eyes became unfocused, as if he was suffering from dementia. "Little guy, attack!" Dandan shouted. Chirp chirp. Bubbles made his move and a powerful time force enveloped the man in black. Then, with a wave of his hand, images appeared in the void. These images were the memories of the other party. For example, the scene of the other party ambushing Lu Ming and the scene of them on their way here. The images seemed to be turning back time. Chapter 2387, Dandan used the formation to control the other party's consciousness. In addition to the Bubbles time backtrack, it projected the other party's memories. It was as if time had turned back as they were displayed one by one. Not long after, Lu Ming saw an image. It was the black-clothed man himself, and he was discussing some matters with a few others. The great emperor of the Han family, the great emperor of the Luo dynasty. Lu Ming could tell at a glance that a few of them were the great emperors of the Han family, the great Luo, and the He family. There were 2 other people that Lu Ming did not recognize. Other than them, the remaining people were the men in black from the Death God nation. It's indeed the people from the Han and He families. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with a cold glint. Also, the Mu clan. Although there was no sound coming from the memory, he could clearly judge what the other party was saying by the shape of their mouths. Han family, He family, Daluo heaven sect, Mu family, I didn't go to you, but you tried to kill me time and time again. There's no need for you to stay in this world. Lu Ming said coldly. The memory images continued to flash back and forth. Not long after, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He saw what he wanted to see, and that was how to find the headquarters of the Death God Nation. The Death God Nation's headquarters was actually an underground city, an ancient underground city. Furthermore, this ancient city wasn't stationary, but moving. After a period of time, it would move to another place. The way to the underground city was also very complicated. They would not be able to find it if they were just one step away. No wonder no one has found the Death God Nation's headquarters for so many years. Lu Ming muttered, his eyes filled with cold killing intent. He also wanted to destroy the Death God Nation's headquarters. All. Suddenly, the man in black let out a loud roar. His entire body twitched, and he fell to the ground, foaming at the mouth. The restriction placed on his soul spirit has been activated. His soul spirit has been destroyed and his nerves are dead. We can't see his memory anymore. Dandan said. Enough. I've seen everything I wanted to see. Lu Ming said. Bubbles finished her work and sat on Lu Ming's shoulder to circulate her energy to recover. Using time backtrack was very draining on Bubbles. Lu Ming, are you going to deal with the Mu family and the Han family first or the Death God Nation? Dandan asked. Let's destroy the Mu family and the Han family first so that we don't alert the enemy. The Death God Nation is in no hurry. They definitely don't know that we found a way to their headquarters. Lu Ming sneered. Immediately, Lu Ming turned the corpses of the Death God Nation's assassins into ashes and continued on his way to the Heavenly Emperor City. It didn't take long for them to arrive at Heavenly Emperor City. When Lu Ming arrived at the Han family and the He family, he realized that the two major families had already been deserted. Only a few people with low cultivation levels were left to guard the place. They're walking quite fast. They've probably reached the Mu family. Lu Ming sneered, and then his aura burst out. Boom! Lu Ming's aura was like that of a prehistoric beast. His blood and qi were boiling, and it was extremely terrifying. The terrifying aura was like a tsunami that pressed down on the Han family's palace. The remaining members of the Han family couldn't withstand this pressure. They knelt on the ground in fear, as if they were facing a god. Who is that? What a terrifying aura! It's Lu Ming. It's Lu Ming. What? Lu Ming, didn't you say that he can't become a great emperor? This aura is simply boundless and unfathomable. I'm afraid Lu Ming has already become a martial emperor. His cultivation is unfathomable. The surrounding people noticed the situation and began to discuss in shock. Obviously, Lu Ming had made some progress in his cultivation and was back to cause trouble for the Han family. This news spread like a hurricane. In the Heavenly Emperor City, countless figures flew toward the Han family. The Han family was surrounded by a tight crowd. Strange. Why isn't anyone from the Han family coming out? There's not a single strong aura in the Han family. They're all very weak. Could it be that the Han family knew that Lu Ming was coming and all the experts in the Han family have retreated? It's very possible. It looks like the Han family will be destroyed today. Many people speculated and then became excited. The Han clan and the He clan were the two strongest forces in the Heavenly Emperor City. They were usually arrogant and domineering with the great emperor in charge. The other forces had to give them face. Now that it was really going to be destroyed, it was simply very satisfying. Everyone in the Han family, listen up. From now on, the Han family belongs to me. All of you, leave. I'll give you 1 hour. If you don't leave, I'll kill you without mercy. At this moment, Lu Ming spoke, his voice spreading to every corner. They were all weaklings. Lu Ming did not bother to attack them. This was because there were too many of these weak people. There were hundreds of thousands or even millions of them. Lu Ming was not a bloodthirsty person, and he would not kill these weaklings. If he wanted to kill, he would kill the strongest group of people. Let's go. The Han family members did not hesitate. As soon as Lu Ming finished speaking, they rushed out of the Han family. Facing an enemy like Lu Ming, it was impossible for them to resist given their cultivation. If they resisted, they would only be met with death. The higher-ups of the Han family had already left, so there was no need for them to protect the Han family with their lives. Not long after, not a single person was left. Dandan, help me set up the formation. Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Dandan. All right. Dandan nodded, her figure moved, and she flew out. She waved her hands, and endless runes filled the air. This time, it took 3 days to set up the formation. A huge formation was formed, covering the endless palace of the Han family. With Dandan's current cultivation, it took her 3 days to set up the formation. Unless the Heavenly Emperor came, no one could break it. Then, Lu Ming entered the small world and discussed with Xiao Wan, the Valley Master of Cloud Dragon Valley, and the others about sending people to guard the Han family. In the end, the Cloud Dragon Valley Master led the Dragon God Valley people to guard the He family. What a dense origin chi! The Cloud Dragon Valley Master and the rest came out of Lu Ming's small world and looked around excitedly. They felt the surrounding essential chi and were extremely excited. The Heavenly Emperor City was the top of the 9 cultivation sanctuaries in the Yuan Mountain. The cultivation environment was many times better than the Tsang region. They were naturally excited. Moreover, the Han family's territory was wide and open. Although there were many people in Dragon God Valley, they could easily stay there. After the arrangements were made, Lu Ming went to the He residence. The He clan was the same as the Han clan. All the experts had left, and Lu Ming easily occupied the He clan. He had dandan set up a great formation, and then Lu Ming released the people of Dragon God Valley, as well as his parents, to live in the He clan. Although there was the path understanding ancient tree in his small world, the original chi of heaven and earth was far less than that of the heavenly Emperor City. For the time being, the cultivation environment in heavenly Emperor City was better. Moreover, Lu Ming did not intend to house so many people in his small world. He had encountered many dangers along the way and he did not know what would happen in the future. If he were to encounter danger, the people in his small world would be in danger as well. From now on, the businesses of the Han family and the He family will be under my name. On this day, Lu Ming's voice spread throughout the heavenly Emperor City. Chapter 2388. On this day, Lu Ming's voice spread throughout the heavenly Emperor City. A terrifying aura filled every corner of the city. Great Emperor. It was a powerful aura comparable to a great emperor, which was extremely shocking. Everyone was shocked beyond words. Had Lu Ming reached the great emperor realm after not seeing him for a while? The He clan and the Han clan have committed many evil deeds. It's really satisfying to get rid of them now. Well, definitely help the great emperor. Someone replied, directly addressing Lu Ming as the great emperor. The businesses left behind by the Han family and the He family were very astonishing. If he did not intimidate them with his powerful strength, there would probably be people fighting for them. However, the Cloud Dragon Valley Master, Xiao Wan, and the others were too weak to compete with these forces in Heavenly Emperor City. Lu Ming could only intimidate them with his powerful strength. With his presence, he believed that these people would not dare to act rashly. It seems like he'll have to send a portion of the Primal Chaos Palace's puppets to guard this place. Lu Ming thought in his heart. The puppets in the Primal Chaos Palace were filled with experts. Other than Earth 1, Gold 1, and the other 9 who were Heaven Emperors, the others were all in the Great Emperor Realm, True Emperor Realm, Void Emperor Realm, Saint Realm, and so on. A few Great Emperor Realm puppets would be enough. Lu Ming stayed in the Heavenly Emperor City for a few days. When the situation here was more or less stabilized, Lu Ming made a trip to the ancient Sun Sacred Land. Like the Han family and the He family, the Daluo Heaven sect's higher-ups had all left, leaving only some weak ones to guard the sect. Lu Ming had helped Ouyang Wushuang's family to occupy the Daluo Heaven sect's territory. Han family, He family, Daluo Heaven sect, do you think I can't do anything to you if you hide in the Mu family? Just in time, well, wipe them out in one go. Lu Ming sneered, his eyes flashing with killing intent. He stayed in Heavenly Emperor City for a period of time and left behind a large amount of resources. Then, he left Heavenly Emperor City and headed towards the land of divine destiny. However, there was one more person in this line, and that was Qiu Yu. He and Qiu Yu had not seen each other for many years, and Qiu Yu had missed him a lot. Now that they had met again, she naturally couldn't bear to part. With Lu Ming's current cultivation, the journey was smooth. He crossed the Ring Sea and entered the divine fated land. Lu Ming did not stop and headed straight for Aeon City. The Mu family was one of the most powerful forces in Aeon City. After Lu Ming, Qiu Yu, Bubbles, and Dandan entered Aeon City, they did not make a move immediately. Instead, they found a place to stay. However, Lu Ming did not hide his identity. His purpose was to alert the Mu family and gather all the experts of the Mu family. Then, he would wipe them out in one go to save himself the trouble. Qiu Yu, let's go out for a walk. Lu Ming said to Qiu Yu. All right. Qiu Yu was all smiles. She pulled Lu Ming's hand and walked out. The two of them strolled around Aeon City and later, they strolled into a huge market. This place was Aeon City's largest market. There were all kinds of treasures inside that dazzled one's eyes. Back then, before the Battle of the 10 Lands, Lu Ming had been to Aeon City. However, due to the pressure of the Battle of the Ten Lands, Lu Ming had not strolled around to his heart's content. It was his first time coming to this market. Chiuyue, if there's anything you want, just say it. Lu Ming smiled. All right. Chiuyue blinked her big eyes a few times and then started to look around. After that, they walked into a divine weapons shop that sold all kinds of combat weapons, such as saint weapons, illusionary emperor weapons, and true emperor weapons. Young master, I want that. Chiuyue pointed at a hairpin after looking at it for a while. This hairpin was made from a special jade and looked very exquisite. This lady has good eyes. This hairpin is made of 10,000-year-old warm jade. When worn, not only can it beautify one's face, it is also helpful for cultivation and comprehension of nomological laws. It is a top-notch illusionary sovereign weapon. A tall and thin middle-aged man said with a smile. How many raw gemstones? I want them. Lu Ming said. 5,000 supreme-grade raw stones. The tall and thin middle-aged man smiled. 5,000 supreme-grade raw stones? That's too expensive. Young master, I don't want it anymore. Chiuyue was shocked when she heard that. 5,000 supreme-grade raw stones were the highest grade of raw stones. Even the great emperor and the heavenly monarch used them for cultivation, so it was clear how precious they were. 5,000 yuan was indeed not a low price. However, to Lu Ming, 5,000 supreme-grade raw stones were just a drop in the ocean. Silly girl, since you've taken a fancy to it, I'll buy it no matter how expensive it is. Lu Ming smiled and waved his hand. A storage ring appeared and he threw it to the tall and thin middle-aged man. Shopkeeper, 5,000 supreme-grade raw stones. The tall and thin middle-aged man took it and scanned it with his spiritual senses. He smiled and then passed the hairpin to Lu Ming. Lu Ming had just received the hairpin when a voice was heard. Wait a minute, I want this hairpin. As the voice rang out, a group of people walked over. The leader of the group was a young woman. She was very beautiful, but she was not as beautiful as Chiuyue. Behind the young woman was a young woman dressed as a maidservant and two old men. The shopkeeper's expression changed when he saw the woman. He then smiled apologetically and said, So it's Miss Dongfang. It's an honor to have you visit our shop. Shopkeeper, sell me that hairpin. The young woman spoke directly with a commanding tone. Miss Dongfang, you're too late. This hairpin has already been bought by this young master. The shopkeeper smiled wryly. What? The young woman hummed coldly and looked at Lu Ming with a faint arrogance. She raised her neck and continued to speak in a commanding tone. Give me this hairpin. I'll give you how many raw stones you need. I'm sorry, this hairpin is not for sale. Lu Ming smiled. You're not selling? The young woman's eyes narrowed, and a look of displeasure flashed across her face. You want to raise the raw gemstones, right? Tell me, how many raw gemstones do you want? I said I'm not selling. I'm not short of raw stones. Lu Ming said. Kid, what did you say? You probably don't know who my young miss is, right? My young miss is Dongfang Shuiyu, the #1 heaven's pride in the divine fated land, and Xianlin's fiancée. Do you know her? The maidservant behind the young lady jumped out and chided, looking at Lu Ming threateningly. The #1 genius of the divine land? Lu Ming muttered. It seemed that Tianming, Yuan Xian, and the others had been in the heaven realm for decades. A new batch of heaven's favorites had appeared in the land of divine destiny. Are you afraid now? Let me tell you, young Master Xian Lin is the young master of Aeon City's powerful force, the Xian family. If you don't think that you are worthy of my praise today, don't even think about walking out of Aeon City. That servant girl continued to clamor. As for the young woman, Dongfang Shuiyu, she revealed a proud expression. Xian Lin, Dongfang Shuiyu, I've never heard of you. You can get lost now. Lu Ming said in a serious tone. He then turned around and walked toward Chiuyue. Chuyue, I'll help you put it on. Lu Ming smiled gently and then put the hairpin on Qiu Yu's head. Chapter 2389. Chapter 2389. Challenging Lu Ming. Qiu Yu was already extraordinary, and with the hairpin, she looked even more beautiful. Coupled with the blush on her cheeks, she was even more moving. Dongfang Shuiyu, on the other hand, was trembling with anger. Lu Ming actually told her to get lost? Who was she? She was the pride of her generation and her fiancé was the #1 pride of the divine land. Lu Ming actually told her to get lost? He was looking for death, he was looking for death. Dongfang Shuiyu roared in her heart. Especially after seeing Qiu Yu's beauty, her jealousy grew to the point of madness. Women were naturally jealous. As for Dongfang Shuiyu, she had always been proud of her beauty. But now, when she was compared to Qiu Yu, she was completely overshadowed. B***tch, you dare to wear my hairpin? I'll tear your face apart. Dongfang Shuiyu let out a shrill cry and her body shot out like a bolt of lightning towards Qiu Yu. Her claws were like blades as she slashed towards Qiu Yu's face. Get lost. Lu Ming shouted coldly and slapped him. Lu Ming's speed was so fast that Dongfang Shuiyu could not dodge at all. She was directly slapped in the face by Lu Ming. Pa! A crisp sound rang out and Dongfang Shuiyu screamed out in pain. Her body flew out and fell to the ground, her face swollen. Of course, Lu Ming had shown mercy. Otherwise, she would not even leave behind ashes. Dongfang Shuiyu was dumbfounded, and so were the others in the shop. Lu Ming actually dared to slap Dongfang Shuiyu. Did he not want to live? Kill him, kill this bastard. Dongfang Shuiyu was stunned for a moment before she reacted and screamed. Brat, you're looking for death. Kneel down and admit your mistake immediately. There were 2 elders who had followed Dongfang Shuiyu. At this moment, one of them let out a loud shout and pounced towards Lu Ming. A terrifying aura burst out with a loud bang, and a powerful pressure pressed towards Lu Ming. At the side, the others retreated. A martial supreme. This old man was a martial emperor, but he was only a 1-star void emperor, which was the weakest martial emperor. Get lost. Lu Ming shouted coldly and kicked the other party's face at lightning speed. The old man let out a blood-curdling screech and was sent flying, following in Dongfang Shuiyu's footsteps. His face was now as swollen as a pig's head. So strong. Everyone was shocked. To be able to defeat a 1-star great emperor with a single move. This kind of battle prowess was extraordinary. Moreover, Lu Ming did not look very old. There were not many people in the entire Divine Destiny land who could reach the martial emperor realm at this age. Get lost. If you don't get lost, kill. Lu Ming shouted coldly, his cold killing intent exuding. Lu Ming, he's Lu Ming. Suddenly, someone on the side shouted. Back then, Lu Ming had won first place in the Battle of the 10 Lands and his reputation was well known. Many people had seen Lu Ming before and now, he was finally recognized. What? Lu Ming? Which Lu Ming? Of course, it's the Lu Ming who dominated the first battle of the 10 Lands and won first place. It's him. He's been missing for decades. I didn't expect to see him again. All of a sudden, the people around them started to discuss and size up this legendary figure curiously. Lu Ming's reputation was very well known. As long as one's cultivation was higher, they would have heard of the Divine Land. The first battle of the 10 Lands was top, he was extremely talented but he couldn't become an emperor. So you're Lu Ming, a useless body that can never become an emperor. How dare you hit me? Don't leave if you're so capable. I'll tear you into 1,000 pieces. At this moment, Dongfang Shuiyu screamed again. Oh, is that so? I'd like to see how you're going to dismember my body into 1,000 pieces. I'll wait for you here. Lu Ming said and sat down on a chair at the side. You useless body, trash, just you wait. Dongfang Shuiyu let out a few shrieks and hurriedly left with her men. Young Master Lu, you'd better leave quickly. Dongfang Shuiyu will definitely go to the Xian family to look for Xian Lin. The Xian family is one of the strongest forces in Aeon City and their strength is unfathomable. The shopkeeper hurriedly warned. It's fine. Lu Ming smiled. It's good that the matter is blown up so that the MU clan can make proper preparations. Lu Ming wanted to give the other party time to prepare. Seeing that he couldn't persuade him, the shopkeeper shook his head and retreated. Lu Ming and Xiao Yu started to wait leisurely. The news here quickly spread. The champion of the 10 lands battle, Lu Ming, had reappeared. Furthermore, he had even slapped Dongfang Shuiyu in public. This was no small matter. Dongfang Shuiyu's fiancé was the #1 genius of the divine land. Would the two of them clash? Moreover, the Xian family would not let the matter rest. How should Lu Ming deal with this? Immediately, countless people who had heard the news rushed over and surrounded the shop to take a look. Xian Lin is here. Lu Ming did not have to wait long before he heard a cry of surprise from outside. A group of people walked through the air. The leader was a young man. He was very handsome and wore a black iron battle suit. He looked very mighty. This man was the #1 genius in the divine fated land, Xian Lin. Dongfang Shuiyu was right beside Xian Lin. At this moment, her face had already swollen and was covered in tears. She looked as if she had suffered a great injustice. There were some people behind them, all of whom were experts from the Xian family. Lu Ming, get out here. Xian Lin came to the door of the shop and shouted. A 3-star illusionary emperor, about 50 years old, far younger than Tianming and the others. Lu Ming did not go out. With a sweep of his spiritual senses, he knew Xian Lin's cultivation and age. A 3-star illusionary emperor at the age of 50 was indeed far inferior to Tianming Yuan Xian and the others. Xiao Yu, let's go and meet this #1 genius. Lu Ming smiled and walked out of the shop with Xiao Yu. All of a sudden, everyone's eyes were on Lu Ming. Lu Ming. Xian Lin's gaze also fell on Lu Ming. How do you want to solve this? Lu Ming looked at Xian Lin. Fight me. Xian Lin stepped out and his voice spread far and wide, revealing a strong battle intent. Many people's eyes lit up. Xian Lin wanted to challenge Lu Ming. One was the current #1 heaven's favorite, while the other was the #1 heaven's favorite from decades ago. Who was the stronger one between the two? Who do you think is stronger, Lu Ming or Xian Lin? It's hard to say, but I think it's Xian Lin. Lu Ming can't become a great emperor. His cultivation is stuck at the quasi-great emperor realm for his entire life. No matter how long it has been, it's difficult for him to improve. According to Lu Ming's strength back then, he's not Xian Lin's match. Yes, I think so too. Many people were discussing and felt that Lu Ming was not Xian Lin's match. The Celestial the Arch had personally said that Lu Ming could not become a martial emperor. There was no mistake about this. Although Lu Ming was strong in the past, he could only fight with a 2-star illusionary emperor. On the other hand, Xian Lin's cultivation was at the 3-star illusionary emperor level. The law he controlled was also an ultimate law. His combat strength was extremely powerful, and it was not a problem for him to suppress Lu Ming in the past. This was a collision between the strongest geniuses of 2 generations. In the past, there was no comparison. It was because Lu Ming could not break through in his cultivation that this happened. Chapter 2390, Scaring Off a Great Emperor, Fight Me? I don't want to be a bully. Lu Ming shook his head slightly. Xian Lin's cultivation base was not worth mentioning in his eyes. Lu Ming, you don't dare to fight, do you? Xian Lin stepped out in an overbearing manner. Back in the Battle of the 10 Lands, he was still young and his cultivation was not high enough. He could not compete with Lu Ming and the others, which was a regret. He was very ambitious. He wanted to defeat Lu Ming to prove that he could also become the #1 prodigy in the world if he were in that era. If you want to fight, then I'll fight with you. Chiu Yu said. Humph, Lu Ming, are you going to hide behind a woman? You're indeed a cripple, a piece of trash. You actually won RHE title of world champion in the first battle of the 10 lands. What a joke. Attack, I'll defeat you in 10 moves. Xian Lin shouted coldly and continued to step forward. His powerful aura pressed down on Lu Ming. Finally, he punched out and a giant turtle as large as a mountain was formed. It pressed down on Lu Ming. If you want to fight, then I'll play with you. Let's go, Lu Ming said indifferently. He took a step forward and rushed toward the Xian forest. Boom! Lu Ming didn't make a move. His figure rushed past and the giant tortoise that Xian Lin attacked exploded. Lu Ming's figure didn't stop and appeared in front of Xian Lin in an instant. The two of them were less than a meter apart. Xian Lin's pupils contracted rapidly as he roared in fear and retreated frantically. However, he suddenly realized that he couldn't move his body. He couldn't move at all. The space around him seemed to have been frozen. Lu Ming stretched out a hand and clasped Xian Lin's throat. Everyone at the scene couldn't help but widen their eyes. What was going on? He did not see Lu Ming make a move and there was no powerful aura permeating the air. How did Lu Ming grab Xian Lin's throat? It was as if Xian Lin had been waiting there motionlessly for Lu Ming to do it. No one could figure it out. You want to challenge me with your strength? Lu Ming spoke indifferently, his voice full of disdain. Xian Lin struggled madly, and his eyes were filled with fear. Get lost. Lu Ming swung his arm and Xian Lin's body directly smashed into the ground. With a loud bang, a huge pit appeared on the ground. Xian Lin lay in the pit and spat out a large mouthful of blood. The others were dumbfounded. One move, no, Lu Ming did not even make an official move, and Xian Lin was defeated. He could not even withstand one blow. Wasn't Lu Ming unable to become a martial emperor? Why did he have such strong combat abilities? Could it be that Lu Ming had already become a martial emperor? Thinking of this, many people's hearts beat wildly. Lu Ming, who was below the rank of a martial supreme, had mastered many types of laws and even different ultimate laws. He was really going against the heavens. The Celestial Arch had asserted that Lu Ming would not be able to break through and become a martial emperor for his entire life. However, if Lu Ming could create a miracle and defy the heavens to become a divine emperor, how powerful would his combat strength be? Lu Ming, I want you dead. Kill him. Kill him. Below, Xian Lin shouted hysterically. As the #1 genius of the divine land, he had never lost a battle against his peers. He had never known what defeat felt like. Earlier, he had come in a domineering manner and said that he would defeat Lu Ming in 10 moves. However, he was easily defeated by Lu Ming now and could not even withstand a single blow. He could not accept such an outcome at all. He was so mad with hatred that he could not wait to cut Lu Ming into 8 pieces. The flowers in RH greenhouse can't stand the wind and waves. Lu Ming shook his head, showing a strong sense of disdain. It seemed that Lu Ming's generation was the true golden generation. There were many geniuses and they competed with each other. Many of them were very intelligent and had experienced many storms. As for this generation, it seemed like there were a lot fewer geniuses. This Xian Lin's path had been too smooth. Although his talent was not bad, his mind was not good. He was far inferior to Tianming and the others. The moment he met with failure, the moment he met with a setback, he immediately couldn't take it. He couldn't bear it. Kill him. Xian Lin roared. Lu Ming's words pierced his heart. Lu Ming, kneel down and accept your death. The few people who had followed Xian Lin here charged at Lu Ming, exuding a terrifying aura. True Emperor. 3 of them were true Emperor realm experts. They were surrounded by world divine light and looked like gods. Kneel down. 1. The terrifying pressure of the true emperor realm pressed down on Lu Ming, trying to force him to his knees. Bet your sister. All of you, get lost. Lu Ming shouted and threw a punch. The air exploded and the terrifying fist force rushed toward the 3 true emperors. The 3 true emperors were almost scared to death when they felt Lu Ming's terrifying fist force. That level of power was not what they could contend with at all. It was too late for them to retreat. Boom! As the fist force crushed over, the 3 people's bodies exploded and turned into flying flames. The scene suddenly quieted down. There was no sound at all. Everyone's eyes were wide open in disbelief. 3 true emperors. That was 3 true emperors. They were actually turned into ashes by Lu Ming with 1 punch. How was this possible? How could Lu Ming's combat strength be so powerful? Dongfang Shuiyu stood there in a daze, her little mouth slightly open, as if she was in a dream. Xian Lin was also stunned. His eyes were filled with fear and disbelief. I'll send you on your way. Lu Ming looked at Xian Lin and stomped his foot. A huge foot condensed by the power of the world stomped down on Xian Lin. Ah! Xian Lin was so frightened that he kept screaming. At this moment, a figure flashed as fast as lightning and swept Xian Lin away before Lu Ming's huge foot could land. There was a flash in RHE sky in the distance, and an old man with white hair and a white robe appeared. He was holding on to Xian Lin, who was still in shock. Great Emperor. Lu Ming muttered. It's one of the elders of the Xian family, a great emperor. The great emperor of the Xian family has appeared. I guess he's going to deal with Lu Ming. Lu Ming is still too impulsive. The Xian family is one of the strongest forces in Aeon City. They are unfathomable. Let's see how Lu Ming will deal with the great emperor. Some people recognized the old man. After Xian Lin reacted, he was overjoyed. Founding Elder, you're here just in time. Kill Lu Ming for me. Kill that bastard. Xian Lin shouted. Today, Lu Ming had embarrassed him. He must kill Lu Ming to vent the hatred in his heart. The elder of the Xian family exuded a powerful aura. It was the pressure of a great emperor. Within a radius of 10,000 miles, it was filled with a terrifying pressure. Some of the weaker cultivators had to kneel down. Ordinary people were too weak to fight against great emperors. It seems like you want to die too. To everyone's surprise, Lu Ming's expression was calm and he spoke indifferently. He was actually threatening the great emperor. Everyone was dumbfounded. They had thought that Lu Ming would be afraid and terrified when he faced the great emperor and would run away. He did not expect Lu Ming to threaten the great emperor. Lu Ming's eyes flickered with a cold glint as he swept a glance at the other party. The elder's heart started to beat wildly as if he was being stared at by a terrifying prehistoric beast. In the next moment, he was going to be torn apart and killed. This feeling shocked him greatly. What's going on? What a terrifying feeling. Could it be that Lu Ming's abilities are already far above mine? No, I'll retreat today. The Xian family elder's mind turned quickly, but he didn't dare to make a move. Chapter 2391 Killing their way into the Mu family, retreat. The elder of the Xian family bellowed as his power swept Xian Lin and the dumbfounded Dongfang Shuiyu backward. In an instant, they disappeared. They retreated? All the onlookers were dumbfounded. They thought that the elder of the Xian family would make a move. They didn't expect him to retreat. Why would the elder of the Xian family retreat? They were afraid of Lu Ming and did not dare to take action? That's impossible, right? No one could figure it out. Lu Ming did not pursue him. His purpose in Aeon City was not the Xian family, but the Mu family. If the Xian family didn't want to die, he wouldn't care. The Mu family should have gathered all their forces this time. I hope the Heng family, the He family, and the Daluo Heaven sect are also here. I didn't come here in vain. Lu Ming looked in the direction of the Mu family and chuckled. In the crowd, some people's eyes flickered, and then they left the place. These people were naturally the Mu clan. Following that, Lu Ming and Xiao Yu strolled around for a while before returning to their residence. The news of Lu Ming's return, how he defeated Xian Lin with one move, how he killed 3 true emperors with one punch, and how he even scared off one of the Xian family's great emperors spread rapidly. Not only did it spread throughout Aeon City, but it also spread throughout the Divine Mandate land, shocking countless people who heard the news. Lu Ming had broken through. Many people knew that Lu Ming had already broken through to the martial emperor realm. The celestial thearch's claim had been shattered. Would the Xian family make a move on Lu Ming next? Many people were guessing. Lu Ming's residence naturally attracted more attention. Many people were constantly paying attention to Lu Ming's residence and the progress of the situation. There were even many people who had rushed over from other places. In the meeting hall of the Xian family, a group of people were discussing something. These were the higher-ups of the Xian family. Most of them were great emperor realm experts. Kill. We must kill Lu Ming. Elders, please help. Xian Lin shouted. His eyes were bloodshot and filled with malevolent killing intent. During this period of time, the news that he was easily defeated by Lu Ming spread like wildfire. His reputation had plummeted and was no longer what it used to be. He hated Lu Ming to the core and could not wait to grind his bones and scatter his ashes. I also feel that we should kill Lu Ming. Someone else said. Ninth brother, tell us why you retreated. At the head of the table was an extremely old man. At this moment, he was looking at the elder who had saved Xian Lin. The elder from before was one of the 9 elders of the Xian family. The 9 elders frowned and pondered for a while before saying, I can sense a terrifying aura from Lu Ming. I have a feeling that if I attack, I will die in his hands. What? The others were shocked, and Xian Lin's eyes widened in disbelief. How is that possible? Could Lu Ming be a threat to the emperor? Even if he has broken through to the martial emperor realm, it's impossible for him to break through to the great emperor realm so quickly. Impossible. Xian Lin couldn't accept this and shook his head. Could it be that Lu Ming has really reached such a shocking level? The other doyens all muttered, their gazes solemn. The higher one's cultivation was, the more accurate one's intuition would be. A great emperor's intuition would usually not be wrong. We can't measure Lu Ming with common sense. Once he breaks through to the martial supreme realm, he'll be like a dragon in the sea. There will be no restraints. It's not impossible for him to have the combat strength of a great emperor. I suggest that we do not attack Lu Ming for the time being. We should observe the situation first. The oldest elder said. I agree. I also agree. The other elders nodded. Although the remaining doyens and Xian Lin wanted to attack, most of the doyens didn't agree to do so, so they had no choice. Time flew by and 5 days passed. Lu Ming's residence. Brother Lu Ming, I've found out that the people from the Heng family, the He family, and the Daliao Heaven sect are all in the Mu family. Also, almost all the great emperors of the Mu family have returned to the Mu family headquarters. They seem to be on guard. Bubbles conveyed some information to Lu Ming. In the past few days, Bubbles and Dandan had gone out to investigate the Mu family and finally had some results. Lu Ming arrived at Aeon City. Needless to say, the 2 groups of assassins from the Death God Nation had already failed. Lu Ming's abilities shocked the Mu family. It was natural for them to gather experts to deal with the Mu family. It's time. The Mu family, the Heng family, the He family, and the Daliao Heaven sect will all be destroyed today. Lu Ming said coldly. He then strode toward the Mu family. Lu Ming's actions naturally alerted those who were paying attention to him. Where is Lu Ming going? His body is full of killing intent. Is he going to kill his way to the Xian family? That's impossible, right? No, this direction is not the Xian family. In the dark, many people were discussing animatedly and secretly following behind Lu Ming. Not long after, mountains and countless palaces appeared in front of them. This was the Mu clan. Boom! Lu Ming suddenly took a step forward. In the sky, endless energy gathered and formed a giant foot that covered the sky. It stomped down on the Mu family headquarters. The mountains trembled under the giant foot. Lu Ming actually wanted to attack the Mu family? All the people who had followed him were dumbfounded and shocked. The Mu family was even stronger than the Xian family. What shocked them even more was Lu Ming's strength. That kick was like the kick of a god. It was unbelievably powerful. Great Emperor. This was the strength of a great emperor. Everyone sucked in a cold breath. Lu Ming actually had the strength of a great emperor. No wonder the patriarch of the Xian family had retreated. Figures flew out of the Mu family's palace. They were terrified by the giant foot and flew everywhere. Impudent. A long howl came from the Mu family. A huge palm flew out from the Mu family and turned into a huge palm that reached the sky, clashing with Lu Ming's huge foot. Boom! The mountains trembled and the void collapsed. A terrifying force swept in all directions. The giant foot and hand disappeared together. A middle-aged man appeared in the sky above the Mu family. His aura was extremely terrifying. The Mu family's head. In the distance, someone muttered as he recognized this person. Oh my god, the Mu family's master is said to be a 3-star great emperor. He only managed to block one of Lu Ming's attacks just now, and Lu Ming has already become so powerful. Quick, spread the news. Something big has happened. Lu Ming is going to attack the Mu family. Hurry up. Many people were discussing in shock, and the news spread out one by one. Aeon City immediately exploded, and countless people rushed toward the Mu family. When the Xian family received the news, they were also dumbfounded. They then sent experts to the Mu family to pay attention to the development of the situation. Whoosh! 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 After the Mu family had appeared, more and more figures rushed out from the depths of the Mu family. Each of these figures exuded a vast and endless aura. The pressure of the Great Path filled the world. These were all Great Emperor realm experts. There were more than 20 of them. The Mu family had more than 20 great emperors. Chapter 2392 Shocking Move. More than 20 great emperors from the Mu family stood in a line. Their auras were as vast as the ocean, filling the entire Aeon City with a terrifying pressure. This lineup made the surrounding onlookers' faces change and their hearts tremble. However, Lu Ming's expression was calm as if he didn't see so many great emperors. His gaze swept across the Mu family and he frowned. There's no need to hide anymore. Those families, come out. The families he was talking about were the Heng family, the He family, and the Daluo Heaven sect. However, the Mu family master sneered and did not answer Lu Ming's question. Instead, he asked, Lu Ming, you attacked the Mu family for no reason today. Do you really think that the Mu family is easy to bully? If you don't give me an explanation today, don't even think about leaving. Don't you know why I'm here? You, the Mu family, the Heng family, the He family, and the Daluo Heaven sect hired people from the Death God Nation to kill me. It's time to settle the score today. Lu Ming's voice was heard by everyone. What? The Mu family had hired people from the Death God Nation to kill Lu Ming? Is that true? It's very possible. Back then, Lu Ming killed the Mu family's most powerful genius, Mu Yang. This is a blood feud. How could the Mu family let this matter rest? Indeed. I'm afraid it's true. Otherwise, Lu Ming wouldn't have come to the Mu family. Lu Ming is really bold to come to the Mu family on his own. What do you think will be the result today? It's hard to say. If Lu Ming wasn't confident, he wouldn't have dared to come here. However, the Mu family has been around for countless years and their foundation is unfathomable. The outcome can't be predicted. Lu Ming's words caused an uproar. Many people were discussing it. Nonsense. If the Mu family wants to kill you, we don't need to hire people from the Death God Nation. Any one of them can kill you. The head of the Mu family sneered. Anyone can kill me? Then I'd like to see if your Mu family has the ability to do so. Lu Ming sneered. Then, he stepped out and headed toward the Mu family. Bang! Bang! With every step Lu Ming took, the void trembled and rays of light shone from his body. It was the radiance of the laws. 1, 2, 3. All sorts of laws appeared. When more than 10 laws appeared, the scene was deathly silent. Everyone was tongue-tied and their eyes almost popped out. Heavens, what did the heavens just see? Chaos law, death law, life law, and reincarnation law. He has mastered 4 supreme laws. No, that's not right. There are also eternal laws, void laws, primordial chaos laws, and spacetime laws. 8. He controls 8 supreme laws. There are still 9 kinds of king path laws and 17 kinds of laws. He has mastered 17 kinds of laws. Furthermore, he has cultivated all 17 types of nomological laws to the limit and reached the 3rd realm. How is this possible? How is this possible? He's abnormal. He's abnormal. When they saw Lu Ming displaying all the laws, everyone in all directions screamed hysterically, unable to control their emotions. This could no longer be described as shock. Their emotions were 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times stronger than shock. The truth of cultivation was that a person could only master one type of ultimate law at most. Not everyone could master an ultimate law. Those who could master one were the top geniuses in the world. But now, there was a person who had not only mastered an ultimate maxim, but it was not just 1, 2, or 3, but 8. This was not only breaking the truth, but also trampling the truth to pieces. It was easy to imagine the feelings of everyone. The people of the Mu family were also dumbfounded. Their eyes were wide open and they were horrified. In the depths of the Mu family, the masters of the Hang family, the He family, and the Daluo Heaven sect, who were hiding in the dark, were almost scared to death when they saw this. Lu Ming was shrouded in 17 different lights. He stood in the air like a god who had descended to the mortal world. He was extraordinary. Come, let's see which one of you can kill me. Lu Ming's eyes lit up as he stared at the people of the Mu family. So what if you can control 17 types of laws? You're still only in the true emperor realm. I'll kill you. From the Mu family, a burly old man stepped out, like a lion. This old man's cultivation had reached the 3-star Great Emperor realm. In the end, the Mu family did not dare to underestimate Lu Ming. Although Lu Ming seemed to be at the true emperor realm, he had mastered 17 types of laws. Most importantly, he had 8 ultimate laws. With so many laws combined, Lu Ming's combat strength could not be measured with common sense. It was possible that he could fight a 1-star Great Emperor or even a 2-star Great Emperor. However, they had sent out a 3-star Great Emperor. The difference between a true emperor and a 3-star Great Emperor was too great. They did not believe that Lu Ming could kill a 3-star Great Emperor. Even if a 3-star Great Emperor was no match for him, he could at least keep his life and test Lu Ming's true combat strength. Bang! Bang! The elder, who was as strong as a lion, had a wild aura. He stepped in the air and his speed increased as he charged toward Lu Ming. Slash! All of a sudden, a saber appeared in the elder's hand and he slashed it at Lu Ming. The saber light was shocking and lit up the sky as if it was going to split Aeon City sky in half. Kill! Lu Ming said indifferently. Before he could finish his sentence, a long spear appeared in his hand. It was a long spear condensed by the law and the power of the world. The muscles on Lu Ming's arms bulged and he threw the long spear out. Whoosh! The long spear flew out like a ray of light, faster than lightning. The long spear not only contained the power of Lu Ming's world force, the power of the law, but also the power of his physical body. The moment the spear collided with the saber light was destroyed. The speed of the spear did not decrease at all, and it continued to stab toward the opponent. The Mu family's 3-star Great Emperor did not expect that his all-out attack would be so vulnerable in Lu Ming's hands. He was stunned for a moment. His fate had been decided. Pfft! Lu Ming's long spear pierced through his dantian and destroyed his small world. He flew out with his body and into the depths of the Mu clan, crashing into a hall. Boom! The palace exploded, and a large group of people flew out from it. These people were from the Hang family, the He family, and the Daluo Heaven sect. The Mu clan's 3-star Great Emperor was impaled by Lu Ming's spear and nailed to the ground, screaming in pain. My cultivation base, a shrill scream reverberated through the entire area. Hiss hiss hiss. Gasps could be heard in the audience. A 3-star Great Emperor was pinned to the ground by Lu Ming with one move and his cultivation was crippled. This scene was too impactful. A 3-star Great Emperor couldn't even withstand one blow. How was this possible? Had Lu Ming's combat strength already reached such a terrifying level? Everyone felt like they were in a dream. In the crowd far away, there were also people from the Xian family watching. There were a few elders, including Xian Lin and Dongfang Shuiyu. At this moment, they were completely petrified and kept gasping. How is that possible? How is that possible? Xian Lin seemed to be in a daze as he kept muttering. He had crippled a 3-star Great Emperor with one move. Such strength was. Chapter 2393 Massacre. The people from the Hang family, the He family, and the Daluo Heaven sect are here. Lu Ming looked at the people from the Hang family and the He family, the corners of his lips curling into a cold smile. The people of the Mu family, Hang family, He family, and Daluo Heaven sect all looked extremely shocked. Lu Ming, you destroyed the cultivation of the Mu family's emperor for no reason. Today, you must pay the price. Mu clan emperor roared. Boom! 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 At this moment, more than 20 great emperors of the Mu family attacked at the same time. There were 1-star great emperors and 5-star great emperors. When they attacked together, the void collapsed instantly, and terrifying attacks were launched toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming's combat strength was far beyond their imagination. They were terrified. They wanted to kill Lu Ming in an instant and make him disappear without a trace. Buzz! Lu Ming's muscles vibrated suddenly, vibrating billions of times in an instant. The void shattered and Lu Ming's figure burst out. The moment Lu Ming charged out, he used the 6-feathered divine wings to increase his speed. In an instant, he dodged the joint attack of his opponents and rushed toward the 20-odd great emperors of the Mu family. Gather, gather! The master of the Mu family roared. More than 20 great emperors of the Mu family gathered together in a circle. This way, they could prevent Lu Ming from breaking them one by one. Is there any use in joining hands? Lu Ming's cold voice was heard and a long spear appeared in his hand again. However, this long spear was not condensed by Lu Ming's law. It was a real long spear. Great Desolation Spear. Heaven Dao Soldiers. Although Lu Ming could not unleash the power of the Heaven's Path in the Heaven Dao Soldier, the Great Desolation Spear's material was sturdy and immortal. It allowed Lu Ming to unleash all his strength and also increased his combat strength. Boom! Lu Ming held the Great Desolation Spear and unleashed his power to the extreme, sweeping the spear out. The sky exploded continuously as the Great Desolation Spear swept up endless void storms and blasted towards the 20-odd great emperors of the Mu clan. It was so powerful that it looked like it was going to crush all the great emperors of the Mu clan. Let's join hands. The master of the Mu family roared. All the emperors of the Mu family joined forces and launched attacks at Lu Ming. Among the more than 20 great emperors of the Mu family, there were quite a few 5-star great emperors with astonishing strength. With so many people working together, they could definitely fight against a 6-star great emperor. Boom! Their attacks collided with Lu Ming's long spear, resulting in a terrifying boom and a shockwave that swept in all directions. Retreat, retreat, the spectators all retreated in a frenzy to create enough distance. Most of the people who were watching the battle did not have the cultivation of a great emperor. They did not dare to get too close. Otherwise, if they were swept up by Lu Ming and the others, they would only be dead. After the boom, Lu Ming's body trembled and he retreated. However, the more than 20 powerhouses of the Mu family were also forced to retreat. Those with weaker cultivations even trembled and spat out blood. They were severely injured. Lu Ming's current combat strength, physical body, world energy, law energy, and the Great Desolation Spear were enough to compete with a 6-star Great Emperor. How could those 1-star and 2-star Great Emperors withstand a head-on collision? Again. Lu Ming took a few steps back and stomped on the void to stabilize his body. He held the Great Desolation Spear and once again charged at the Mu clan emperor. Boom! This time, Lu Ming held the Great Desolation Spear with both hands and smashed it down with the force of Mount Tai. Boom! The Great Desolation Spear rapidly grew in size and became as heavy as a mountain, as if it could crush everything. More than 20 great emperors from the Mu family roared and used their strongest power to attack the Great Desolation Spear. The attacks from both sides collided once again. Buzz! The Great Desolation Spear trembled continuously before it was sent flying. However, the people of the Mu family were in an even worse state. A few 1-star great emperors were shaken, and their bodies were cracked by the terrifying backlash. They were covered in blood, and their auras were weak. They no longer had the strength to fight. You guys recuperate first. The head of the Mu family roared. However, at this moment, Lu Ming's third move arrived. The Mu family's 2-star great emperor was also shaken by this collision, and he was almost killed. Again. Lu Ming was like a martial emperor god of war, his attacks were like a storm. The number of Mu family's great emperors decreased and they were no match for Lu Ming. In the end, they were at a disadvantage every time they clashed. In the end, even 3- and 4-star great sovereigns started to get injured, and 5-star great sovereigns' faces were pale and they were gasping for breath. The hearts of the people watching the battle were in a state of shock. Lu Ming's combat strength was too strong. He completely suppressed the Mu family. Was the Mu clan going to be destroyed today? In the depths of the Mu family, the emperors from the Han family, the He family, and the Tian Luo family were even paler. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. It was hard to believe that Lu Ming's combat strength had reached such a level. With his current combat strength, he could kill them in a second with one move. How did this happen? They roared in their hearts, unable to accept this fact. Boom! Boom! Lu Ming kept attacking, and his attacks became more and more violent. In the end, even the Mu clan's 5-star great emperor was injured. He was no match for Lu Ming. Kill! Suddenly, Lu Ming's attack changed. He bypassed the 5-star's great emperor and shook the Great Desolation Spear. In an instant, he shot out dozens of spear lights. His target was the low-ranked great emperors. Not good, he blocked it. The advanced emperors of the Mu family were shocked. They used all their strength to block Lu Ming's attack. But no matter how hard they tried, they only managed to block half of the spear light. The rest of the spear light continued toward the low-tier emperors. The low-level great emperors, especially the 1- and 2-star great emperors, tried their best to resist, but it was to no avail. Pft! 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 The 1-star and 2-star great emperors' foreheads were pierced through by the spear light, and their souls were destroyed. He was dead. The The 1-star and 2-star great emperors of the Mu family were all killed in an instant, and 8 of them were dead. The 8 great emperors were annihilated in an instant. This shocked everyone, but at the same time, it also made the Mu clan furious and filled them with killing intent. Lu Ming, I want you to die without a burial ground. The Mu family's head roared. His eyes were blood red, and his face was ferocious. 8 great sovereigns, what a great loss this was, his heart was bleeding. The Mu family had been around for countless years, and they had only managed to accumulate so many great emperors over time. But now, 8 of them had died. This was a loss that was hard to bear. Now you know how painful it is. If you had known this would happen, you wouldn't have thought of this day when the Mu family wanted to kill me. At this moment, it's impossible that you're the only ones killing others in this world, and others won't come to kill you. Lu Ming said coldly. He did not have the slightest bit of pity or sympathy. He and the Mu family were mortal enemies. Either he died or he died. One side had to be destroyed. Chapter 2394 Dandan displays her might. The people from the Mu family were speechless. They could only look at Lu Ming with killing intent. Kill. Lu Ming said coldly. He held the long spear and charged forward again. Today, he would not spare a single higher-up of the Mu clan. Evil creature, die. At this moment, a loud roar came from the depths of the Mu family. The voice was filled with vicissitudes of life, and then a terrifying saber light slashed out from the depths of the Mu family. It was extremely terrifying. Peak Emperor. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed slightly as soon as the saber light was released. The Mu family was indeed unfathomable. There were still experts that hadn't made a move, but there was a peak emperor hiding. Ha ha ha, I've been waiting for this moment. A loud laugh was heard. Then, a huge turtle shell appeared out of thin air and blocked the saber light. It was Dandan who made her move. Previously, he and Bubbles had been watching from the side and had no intention of making a move, in case the Mu family had an even stronger existence. Clang! The saber light struck the turtle shell, causing it to shake and dissipate. However, the saber light was also blocked. Boom! Boom! Then, a terrifying aura burst out from the depths of the Mu family. A total of 5 auras burst out, and a terrifying pressure filled the air. Then, 5 old men stepped out and appeared in front of the crowd. These 5 old men were very old. Their hair was white and their skin was dry and wrinkled, like 5 skeletons. Forefather. The Mu clan's patriarch was overjoyed. It's the patriarchs. The patriarchs really didn't die. They've come out of seclusion. This time, let's see how they die. The other members of the Mu family were also overjoyed. The Mu family indeed has a strong foundation. These must be the old monsters of the Mu family who have been in seclusion. Someone from the distant spectators said in a serious tone. The Mu family was definitely one of the most powerful forces in Aeon City. They had a deep foundation. It was said that in the distant past, the Mu clan even had a heavenly emperor, but the Mu clan's heavenly emperor died in battle. However, this also showed how powerful the Mu family was. It had always been said that some old monsters in the depths of the Mu family were cultivating in seclusion, ignoring the outside world. They only wanted to improve their cultivation, fight the heavenly tribulation, and even break through to the heavenly emperor realm. He wouldn't come out unless it was a matter of life and death for the Mu family. Today, after the Mu family's great emperors were killed one after another, these old guys came out. The Mu family's foundation is indeed deep. We're saved today. Lu Ming must die. Emperor Heng, Emperor Tianluo, and the others were also overjoyed. 3 6-star great emperors and 2 7-star great emperors. Dandan, I'll leave them to you. Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Dandan. Don't worry, I'll clean it up soon. Dandan was very confident. When he was on the Void God Island, he was only a 6-star Great Emperor, but he could suppress other peak Great Emperors and even kill them. Furthermore, Dandan had already broken through to the peak of 7-star Great Emperor realm, and it would be a piece of cake for him to kill someone at the same level as him. The 5 elders of the Mu family looked at Lu Ming with lightning-like eyes and said in cold and dry voices, "You killed my Mu family's people. Kill without mercy. Kill your sister. Try my invincible turtle fist." Dandan charged out with extreme speed and punched at a peak emperor from the Mu family. Countless runes flickered on its fist, as if it had condensed into a world. The ancestor of the Mu clan was shocked and hurriedly set up layers of defense. However, these defenses were completely useless as they were directly punched through by Dandan. Then, Dandan's fist ruthlessly smashed into the old face of the Mu clan's ancestor. Bang! Kacha! The sound of bones breaking reverberated throughout the entire place. The ancestor of the Mu clan let out a blood-curdling scream as his body flew far away, smashing a hall of the Mu clan into pieces. Everyone was dumbfounded. One of the Mu family ancestors had a terrifying aura. He was a peak Great Emperor, and his appearance shocked everyone. However, he was sent flying by a punch before he could even show off for a few seconds. Moreover, the one who had sent him flying was a teenager in a Daoist robe. A young Daoist priest in his teens. Dandan, this fellow, with his appearance, would really make people ignore him because he really wasn't that good? But at this moment, the impact on everyone was the greatest. Lu Ming really has a helper. His combat strength is shocking. He sent a peak emperor flying with one punch. No wonder he dared to come to the Mu family. How terrifying. Could it be that the Mu clan is really finished today? Many people were discussing. Among them, the Xian family was the most shocked. Xian Lin and Dongfang Shuiyu both swallowed their saliva as cold sweat dripped down their faces. Their clothes were drenched in cold sweat. At that moment, they were secretly glad that they did not lay a hand on Lu Ming. Otherwise, the Xian family would be finished. The Xian family's strength couldn't compare to the Mu family's, so they were really going to die. Pervert, pervert. I'll never provoke this pervert again. Xian Lin roared in his heart. He was truly afraid. At this moment, the remaining 4 elders of the Mu family had goosebumps all over their bodies. They instinctively backed away like crazy to increase the distance between them and Dandan. In front of this lord, you still dare to take advantage of your seniority. You simply don't know what's good for you. Kill. Dandan waved the sleeve of her Daoist robe like a peerless expert, and then charged toward the Mu clan ancestors. A huge world appeared, vast and boundless. It exuded a grand pressure and pressed down on the other party. Even if other people condensed a small world, they couldn't use it to fight their enemies directly because the condensed small world wasn't that stable and would be easily destroyed by others. But Dandan could. He was the divine turtle of the world. The word world wasn't given to him for nothing. His control of the world had reached the peak. The small world was extremely stable and had great power and an indestructible defense. A small world blotted out the sky and suppressed them. The ancestors of the Mu family couldn't escape and could only fight head-on. Boom! 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 The old man of the Mu family made his move. 4 attacks were aimed at Dandan's small world. Behind him, the old man who was almost killed by Dandan's punch also made his move. However, the 5 people's attacks only made Dandan's small world shake a little. It couldn't be broken or blocked at all. Boom! The 3 6-star Great Emperors screamed and spat out mouthfuls of blood as their bodies cracked and were covered in blood. The 2 peak Emperors were slightly better off, but they were also heavily injured. Buzz! Dandan turned into a phantom and directly rushed over, carrying out a bloody slaughter. A series of screams sounded as the 3 6-star Great Emperors were killed by Dandan in an instant. No, the head of the Mu family and the others cried out in horror, unable to accept this outcome. Kill. At this moment, Lu Ming let out a long howl and launched a violent offensive. Although the Mu family's experts fought back with all their might, the outcome was already decided. Shrieks were heard continuously as the great emperors of the Mu clan died at Lu Ming's hands one after another. As for the two peak emperors of the Mu family, they were no match for dandan at all. They barely managed to block a dozen moves before being killed mercilessly. Chapter 2395 Mu Clan's Destruction. Go, quickly go. In the distance, the Han family's celestial arch, the emperor of Tianluo, and the others were almost scared to death. Then, they turned around and ran away from the Mu family with their subordinates. Lu Ming's ability had far exceeded their imagination. They knew that if they did not run, they would be the ones to die. Go! Everyone from the Mu clan, leave quickly. At that moment, the master of the Mu family also roared, his voice traveling far and wide. He knew that the Mu clan was finished today. The Mu family would be wiped out from the Divine Destiny land, but he didn't want the Mu family to be annihilated. He wanted the rest of the Mu family to escape. Master! Someone in the Mu family cried out in sorrow. Go, quickly go. The head of the Mu family roared, but his voice stopped abruptly. That was because Lu Ming's long spear had already pierced through his dantian and crippled his cultivation. He let out a shrill cry, his eyes filled with despair. Let's go. The powerful figures of the Mu family who were below the emperor level turned into streaks of light and flew in all directions like countless meteors. You want to leave? Have you asked this, Lord? Dandan sneered and waved her hands. Runes entered the void one after another. Then, countless runes suddenly appeared around the Mu family, forming a layer of light that enveloped the entire Mu family. A formation. A few days ago, Dandan had already quietly set up a formation around the Mu family. Today, no one would be able to escape. No, seeing the formation, Emperor Han, Emperor Tianluo, and the others let out a desperate roar and attacked the light screen one after another. However, this was a formation that had taken Dandan several days to set up. With their cultivation, how could they break it? The attacks landed on the light curtain one after another, but not a single ripple was produced. No, 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 the people of the Mu family also roared and attacked madly. They were filled with despair. Why is this so? An elder of the Mu clan looked up at the sky and sighed. They had only offended a young man of the younger generation. They could just kill him. The Mu clan had been around for a long time, and they had offended and killed countless so-called geniuses. Even though those heaven's favorites were extremely talented, they were all crushed into dust by their strength. Never in their wildest dreams would they have thought that offending a heaven's favorite would bring about the end of their Mu clan. In the depths of the sky, at an unknown height, two figures stood there, and everything below fell into their eyes. These two were none other than Han Xinghe and his master, the 9 demon celestial emperors. Master, it seems that Lu Ming has brought the world turtle with him. The celestial arch should not be with him anymore. Should we make a move now? Xinghe asked. Are you worried about the Han family? The 9 demon celestial emperors asked. No, I didn't. I don't think so. Xinghe shook his head. I just think it's about time. Let's see. Celestial Master 9 Demons said, after killing Lu Ming, these people from the Han family will definitely die. They will be killed by the celestial arch behind Lu Ming. No matter what, they won't survive. So, don't worry about it. Just observe for a while longer. Haste makes waste. Do you understand? This disciple knows. Xing Chen bowed and nodded. The two of them continued watching. The battle below was coming to an end. Dandan had intervened and killed a few 5-star great emperors of the Mu family with a few slaps. The remaining great emperors were all killed by Lu Ming. Not a single emperor of the Mu family was left alive. This scene was truly shocking. The surrounding spectators were all unable to calm down. The Mu Famfly, which had dominated Aeon City for countless years and was considered a top-notch force even in the Divine Land, had all its great emperors killed by a young man. Life was really unpredictable. The elders of the Xian family, Xian Lin and Dongfang Shuiyu, were already drenched in cold sweat. Their faces were pale and they were filled with fear. If they had not held back and attacked Lu Ming rashly, the Xian family would have been the one annihilated. Bang! Bang! Lu Ming held his spear and walked toward the emperors of the Hang family, He family, and Tian Luo. Lu Ming, don't kill us. The galaxy has already acknowledged a celestial the Arch as its master. If you destroy the Hang family, the galaxy will not let you off. The great emperor of the Hang family shouted. You're still threatening me even at this time. How foolish. I'll kill that guy from the Star River with my own hands one day. Lu Ming said coldly, his footsteps getting faster. The emperor of the Hang family and the others were in despair as they retreated. However, they were blocked by the formation. If you don't offend me, I won't offend you. I didn't offend you from the beginning. You brought all of this upon yourself. Today, let everything end. Kill. Lu Ming let out a long howl and thrust his spear. Pfft. The spear pierced the emperor's forehead and killed him in the air. No, the emperors from the Hang family and the He family flew to the sides in fear. However, Lu Ming stabbed out 2 more times and they were killed just like the emperor of Tianluo. Kill, kill, kill. Then, Lu Ming attacked crazily without any mercy, turning into a killing machine. Endless spear light burst out from his hand and rushed toward the remaining experts of the Mu family, the Daluo Heaven sect, and the He family. Only the Hang family was shown mercy by Lu Ming. That was for the sake of the Hang Yu Heavenly Emperor. After all, the Hang family was the descendants of the Hang Yu Heavenly Emperor. The Hang Yu Heavenly Emperor had been of great help to Lu Ming, and he did not want to exterminate the Hang family. Lu Ming had only killed a few senior members of the Hang family. He did not kill the rest. However, Lu Ming did not show any mercy to the Mu family, the He family, and the Daluo Heaven sect. Lu Ming had killed all the martial supremes and above. For a time, the entire area was filled with blood and qi, making it look like hell on earth. Hang clan, for the sake of the Hang Yu Heavenly Emperor, I want to destroy you. Get lost. Lu Ming looked at the remaining members of the Hang family. Go, quickly go. The remaining members of the Hang family rushed in one direction. Dandan waved her hand, and the formation automatically separated, not stopping them. I, Lu Ming, am not willing to kill anyone below the rank of a martial supreme. If you want to seek revenge in the future, feel free to come and find me. Get lost. Finally, Lu Ming looked at the people below the martial supreme realm. As if they had been granted amnesty, those people also fled in all directions. Not long after, not a single person was left in the large Mu family. The Mu family, which dominated Aeon City, was destroyed. It was destroyed by a young man. Dandan, Bubbles, Chiao Yu, let's go. Lu Ming said, turned around and left. He didn't want to kill, but things won't go as you wish in this world. If you want to reach the peak, you're bound to have some obstacles. This kid is still too soft-hearted. Dandan pursed her lips and followed Lu Ming. But at this moment, Dandan's expression changed drastically as she looked into the depths of the sky. At this moment, Lu Ming's hair stood on end. He felt a terrifying sense of danger. Chapter 2396 Celestial Emperor Takes Action. Lu Ming felt a terrifying sense of danger approaching. This sense of danger came from deep in the sky. Whoosh! At this moment, a beam of sword light shone from the depths of the sky. The sword light was dozens of times brighter than the sun. It illuminated the world and the pressure of the heavenly Tao filled the world. Everyone felt a great fear. Heavenly Emperor, there's indeed a heavenly emperor behind this. Who is it? Lu Ming's mind was spinning rapidly. Just now, after he had destroyed the Mu family, he had thought that it was the Mu family, the Hang family, the He family, and the Daluo Heaven sect behind the scenes. He had thought that it was over. However, as soon as the sword gleam was released, Lu Ming knew that the matter was not over yet. There was also a Heavenly Emperor realm powerhouse who had been hiding behind and only made a move at the last moment. Caution. The Celestial Arch was extremely cautious. Even when he made his last move, he did it from a distance. Don't even think about it. At this moment, Dandan yelled out. Countless symbols began to spread out from her body, and the formation around the Mu family reappeared, forming a light that enveloped the world. Then, Dandan waved her hand and pieces of turtle shells appeared out of thin air, blocking the sword radiance that was aimed at Lu Ming. The Great Desolation Spear also appeared in Lu Ming's hands. Pfft! At this moment, the sword light had already arrived. The defensive power of the formation set up by Dandan was extremely amazing, but when the sword light stabbed the light curtain trembled violently and then was pierced through. The sword beam passed through the light curtain, its speed did not stop, and it bombarded the heavy turtle shell that Dandan had set up. Bang! 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 The tortoiseshell that Dandan had set up exploded one after another, and the terrifying force swept in all directions. In the end, Dandan let out a muffled groan and her body flew far away, spitting out a mouthful of blood. However, after Dandan's continuous obstruction, the power of the sword gleam had been weakened a lot. But it still did not stop and continued to attack Lu Ming. Block it, die! Lu Ming roared with a crazed look on his face. 17 types of laws burst forth and covered the Great Desolation Spear. Then, Lu Ming stabbed it with all his might. This was Lu Ming's strongest attack. All his strength was unleashed at this moment. Buzz! The Great Desolation Spear and the sword radiance collided. Lu Ming immediately felt a terrifying force flowing along the Great Desolation Spear and charging towards him. Buzz! The Great Desolation Spear trembled non-stop and Lu Ming's body retreated rapidly. His arms and body were covered with sword marks as if he had been slashed hundreds of times in an instant. But in the end, he blocked it. Lu Ming circulated the indestructible ancient scroll with all his might. The injuries on his body were healing rapidly. In the depths of the sky. It seems like there really aren't any other celestial emperors here. Lu Ming, everything you have will be mine today. Disciple, let's go. The 9 demon celestial emperor's face revealed a look of wild joy. Then, he swept up the eternal star river and brought it down. He had only been testing the waters with that sword strike. If Tai Celestial the Arch had made a move just now, he would have immediately, however, looking at Lu Ming and Dandan's desperate resistance, he concluded that the Celestial the Arch was not with Lu Ming. Not far in front of Lu Ming, there was a flash of light and 2 figures appeared out of thin air. Star River, 9 demon celestial emperors, it's you. Lu Ming narrowed his eyes at the sight of the galaxy and the 9 demon celestial emperors. His eyes gleamed coldly. It seemed that the person behind the scenes was the 9 demon celestial emperors. He didn't let Earth 1 and Thunder 1 out just now because he wanted to lure the other party out. Lu Ming, you've killed innocents. Today, my master will carry out justice on behalf of the heavens. Xing Chen shouted. Hee, you're just enforcing justice on behalf of the heavens. Don't make it sound so high and mighty. Heng Xinghe, I've underestimated you in the past. You're really inhumane. You even want to use the Heng family and watch them be destroyed without doing anything. Lu Ming sneered. Lu Ming, you're a smart man. Hand over everything you have. Remember, everything. Hand it over and they'll give you a quick and painless death. The 9 demon celestial emperor spoke, and his aura emanated. The heavenly emperor realm could borrow the power of the heavenly path. That aura was too terrifying. It was as if the heavenly path was pressing down on one's body. Everyone in Aeon City had a huge change in expression as they felt the terrifying pressure. The Heavenly Emperor. Oh my God. It's the Heavenly Emperor. There's actually a celestial arch behind this. Lu Ming is finished. He has offended a celestial arch. Many people were screaming in fear, but they didn't dare to say anything for fear of offending the celestial arch. In the eyes of everyone in Aeon City, the Heavenly Emperor realm was a supreme existence. With just a thought, millions of corpses could be buried and blood would flow like a river. Now, there was a celestial arch who wanted to kill Lu Ming. Lu Ming was dead for sure. 9 demon celestial emperors, it seems like you're after my treasures. It's easy for you to kill me, but if this matter gets out, you won't have a place to stay. Lu Ming said with a calm expression. Ha ha ha, the world is so big. Who can find me if I just hide? The 9 demon celestial emperors laughed and looked at the great desolation spear in Lu Ming's hands. It was filled with burning flames and greed. If you want my treasure, come and take it yourself. It's impossible for me to hand it over. Lu Ming said, intentionally retreating slowly. Putting up a stubborn resistance, struggling to survive. The 9 demon celestial emperor said coldly. His body swayed and he pounced toward Lu Ming. Fast, it was too fast. The celestial thearch's speed was unbelievably fast. Before anyone could react, he had already arrived in front of Lu Ming. His claw was like a hook as he clawed at Lu Ming's glabella. At such a fast speed, Lu Ming could not avoid it even if he wanted to. However, Lu Ming had no intention of avoiding it. Lu Ming just stood there calmly, letting the other party's claws grab at him. Lu Ming is dead. Many people had the same thought. However, at this moment, an extra arm suddenly appeared on Lu Ming's body. It was a khaki-colored arm that blasted out directly from Lu Ming's body and blasted toward the 9 demon celestial emperor's claw. It really looked like Lu Ming had an extra arm out of thin air. Boom! With a deafening boom, the 9 demon celestial emperor's body trembled, and he couldn't help but retreat. He was sent flying 100 miles. A figure appeared on Lu Ming's body. It was a khaki-colored figure with a burly figure and a mountain-like aura. It was Earth 1. Primal Chaos Hall, 2E. The 9 demon celestial emperor's expression was extremely unsightly. 9 devil, it seems like you're tired of living. How dare you have ideas about my Primal Chaos Hall's young master? Earth 1 spoke coldly, his eyes somewhat malevolent. The surrounding people were all dumbstruck. This sudden change was beyond everyone's expectations. He had thought that Lu Ming was dead for sure. He did not expect that a figure would suddenly appear on Lu Ming's body. Furthermore, this figure was clearly a heavenly emperor. Lu Ming also had a heavenly emperor-level powerhouse behind him. Moreover, it seemed that the celestial arch addressed Lu Ming as young master and took orders from him. The 9 demon celestial emperor's expressions were extremely unsightly. However, Xing's expression was even uglier. Damn it, how is this possible? The galaxy roared in its heart. They had already tested him several times and were almost certain that the celestial arch was not with Lu Ming. They did not expect that he still had the celestial arch with him. Furthermore, they had hidden themselves so deeply. When they were in life-threatening danger, they didn't even let the celestial arch come out. Chapter 2397 The Fall of the Celestial Emperor. Let's go, retreat. The 9 demon celestial emperors roared, and a force swept up the eternal star river, forcing it to retreat. As soon as Earth 1 appeared, he knew that he would not be able to do anything to Lu Ming today. He could only retreat. His life was the most important. It's too late to leave now. A cold voice was heard. Then, a bolt of lightning flashed, and a figure appeared behind the 9 demon celestial emperor. This figure was covered in lightning. It was Lei Yi. The 9 demon celestial emperors' figures stopped in an instant, and their faces were extremely ugly. Not only did Earth 1 follow Lu Ming, but also Thunder 1. There were 2 celestial emperors in total. With 2 heavenly emperors surrounding him, he was in danger. The galaxy was in despair. Lu Ming, what happened today was a misunderstanding. How about I apologize to you in public another day? The 9 demon celestial emperors revealed a flattering smile. Misunderstanding? Hee, kill him. Lu Ming spoke calmly and gave the order. He would not give the 9 demon celestial emperors any chance. The 9 demon celestial emperors must die. Kill. Lei Yi let out a long roar, and his body was filled with endless thunder and lightning. He directly struck out a palm toward the 9 demon celestial emperors. Lu Ming, let's see who's the one who's dead. The 9 demon celestial emperor's eyes were ferocious. He brought the Star River and charged at Lu Ming. Earth One stepped out and punched at the 9 demon celestial emperor. But at this moment, the 9 demon celestial emperor waved his hand and actually threw the eternal Star River towards Earth One. Master, the galaxy let out a desperate cry. Rest in peace. Your master will take revenge for you. The 9 demon celestial emperor's cold voice rang in Xing Chen's ears. Ah! Xing Chen let out an unwilling scream. His body was turned into dust by Earth One's terrifying fist force. He had no power to resist. The 9 demon celestial emperors took the opportunity to dash toward Lu Ming in a flash. He wanted to capture Lu Ming and use him as a hostage to escape. He wanted to obtain all the resources from Lu Ming, such as the indestructible ancient scroll. You're looking for death. Earth One roared, and a meteor hammer appeared in his hand. With a wave, the meteor hammer was like a shooting star, blasting towards the 9 demon celestial emperor at an unbelievable speed. It also emitted a terrifying heavenly Tao pressure. The 9 demon celestial emperor's pupils contracted sharply, and he let out a desperate roar. Heaven Tao soldiers, this meteor hammer was naturally the heavenly Tao soldier that Lu Ming had given to Earth One. The speed of the meteor hammer was unbelievably fast. It caught up with the 9 demon celestial emperor in an instant. He did not have time to attack Lu Ming and could only turn around to defend himself. Whoosh! 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 A long sword appeared in the hands of the 9 demon celestial emperors. In an instant, he stabbed out hundreds of times. Hundreds of sword lights converged into one sword and blasted toward the meteor hammer. However, it was useless. He couldn't block it at all. Earth One's strength was stronger than the 9 demon celestial emperors to begin with. With the addition of the Heaven Tao soldier, his strength skyrocketed, and his combat power was far above the 9 demon celestial emperors. Boom! With a violent boom, the meteor hammer crushed the 9 demon celestial emperor's sword light with unstoppable momentum and blasted toward them. At the critical moment, the 9 demon celestial emperors could only block with his sword. However, when the meteoric hammer collided with the combat sword, the top-notch emperor-level weapon exploded. The terrifying power struck the 9 demon celestial emperors heavily. Arg! The 9 demon celestial emperor screamed as his body was sent flying. His body was split into 2. Although he wasn't dead yet, he was severely injured. His aura was weak, and his face was pale. After being struck by the Heaven Tao soldiers, the 9 demon celestial emperor's strength was reduced to less than 10%. Lu Ming, I surrender. Don't kill me. I'll acknowledge you as my master and follow your orders. The 9 demon celestial emperors roared in horror. He was truly afraid now. Against Tu Yi, who was controlling the Heaven Tao soldier, he had no chance and would definitely be killed. This was the first time in countless years that he had felt such fear. I'm not interested, kill. Lu Ming said coldly. Die. Earth One roared ferociously, and the meteoric hammer blasted toward the 9 demon celestial emperors again. Lu Ming, you'll die a terrible death. Ah, run. Celestial Emperor Jiao Mo roared hysterically. He used all his means to escape, but it was useless. Under the attacks of the Heaven Tao soldiers, all his means were useless. Bang! The 9 demon celestial emperors' bodies exploded in the air, and their souls were also annihilated by the Heaven Dao soldiers' attacks. The 9 demon celestial emperors, a heavenly emperor-level figure, had died just like that. At that moment, the crowd was already numb. They could not make a sound and were completely stunned as they looked at Lu Ming in a daze. The celestial the arch was dead. A celestial the arch was killed by Lu Ming's subordinates. This scene, this image, was too impactful, too shocking. The celestial the arch was a legendary figure in the primordial realm. He was supreme and would never face any heavenly tribulations. He had an endless lifespan, as long as heaven and earth, and his combat power was boundless. It was extremely difficult to even meet such a figure. However, one of them had fallen in front of them. Moreover, it was all because of a young man. Young master, that guy's storage ring. Earth One flew back and handed Lu Ming a storage ring, which was left behind by the 9 demon celestial emperor. Lu Ming nodded and kept the storage ring. Let's go. Lu Ming opened his mouth and was about to leave. Young hero Lu Ming, please wait. At this moment, a voice was heard. Lu Ming was slightly stunned. He stopped in his tracks and turned around. 5 to 6 figures walked over. Lu Ming recognized 2 of them. They were the Eastern Snow region and Xian Lin. What's wrong? Does your Xian family still want to find trouble with me? Lu Ming said coldly. Xian Lin, Dongfang Shuiyu, and a few of the elders of the Xian family shivered. A wrinkled elder had a smile on his face as he cupped his fists. Brother Lu Ming, you must be joking. How would we dare to fight with you? We are here to apologize to you. Xian Lin, Dongfang Shuiyu, why don't you come forward and apologize to little brother Lu Ming? In the end, the old man's cold eyes turned to Xian Lin and Dongfang Shuiyu. They were almost scared to death when they saw the Mu family being annihilated and even a celestial the arch being killed. They were afraid that Lu Ming would attack the Xian family because of Xian Lin and the Xian family would be annihilated. Therefore, when he saw that Lu Ming was about to leave, he quickly came out and apologized to Lu Ming. Xian Lin and Dongfang Shuiyu stepped forward with pale faces. Cupping their fists, they bowed and said, "We were blind before and offended you. Please forgive us and not lower yourself to our level." Lu Ming was noncommittal. He waved his hand casually and left without saying a word. Qiu Yu, Bubbles, Dandan, Tu Yi, and Lei Yi followed Lu Ming and disappeared without a trace. Xian Lin, Dongfang Shuiyu, and the rest of the Xian family were panting uneasily. They did not understand what Lu Ming meant. After a while, they went back in a daze. The entire Xian family was filled with uneasiness, afraid that Lu Ming would come to them. Chapter 2398 Expanding the Faction. However, Lu Ming did not take the Xian family's matter to heart at all. Now, in the primordial realm, he had basically gotten rid of all his enemies, so he could more or less be at ease. Next, Lu Ming still had 2 things to do. The first was to deal with the Death God Nation. The second matter was about the Hunyuan sect's inheritor. Back then, he had passed the Hunyuan sect's assessment and obtained the position of the Hunyuan sect's gold inheritor. At that time, he had received a list. The name list recorded the inheritors of Hunyuan sect since ancient times, such as the silver and bronze inheritors. According to the rules, these inheritors had to listen to Lu Ming. However, in the past, Lu Ming did not dare to rely on his identity as a golden inheritor to look for these people and order them around. This was because most of these people were at the martial emperor realm. There were even true emperors and even great emperors among them. Given Lu Ming's previous abilities, he would most likely be slapped to death by these people if he went to look for them. But now, it was possible. Lu Ming planned to subdue all these people first, then he would eliminate the Death God Nation. However, in order to subdue those people, he had to wait for a while. After the matter of Aeon City was spread, it would be much easier to do so. Lu Ming and the rest stayed in Aeon City. The news about the Battle of Aeon City spread like a hurricane. Not only did it spread in the divine land, but it also spread to other regions. In an instant, a magnitude 12 earthquake occurred in the primordial realm. Lu Ming had returned in a domineering manner and destroyed the Mu family, the overlord force of Aeon City, in one fell swoop. He killed all the experts of the Mu family and displayed his terrifying combat strength. However, the most shocking thing was that in the end, a heavenly emperor tried to kill Lu Ming, but he was easily killed by Lu Ming's subordinates. Lu Ming actually had a terrifying heavenly emperor as his subordinates. Everyone who heard this news was shocked. They knew that Lu Ming had defied the heavens and rose to power. Back then, Lu Ming was declared by the celestial Arch that he would never become a Arch in this life. Many people called him trash and a cripple. But how many years had passed? Lu Ming rose to power and his combat strength was terrifyingly powerful. He killed more than 10 great emperors of the Mu family alone. That was a dozen great emperors. What kind of battle record was this? It was simply frightening. The more terrifying thing was that Lu Ming had the celestial Arch as his subordinate. After hearing this, everyone was dumbfounded and speechless. Everyone knew that an unrivaled figure had risen with unstoppable momentum. Time flew by, and in the blink of an eye, a month had passed. In the past month, the entire Yuan continent was talking about Lu Ming. It's time. The first one will be the Lu family. They're in Aeon City. In an inn in Aeon City, Lu Ming's lips curled into a smile. He then led Dandan and the rest in a direction. The Lu family was a powerful force in Aeon City, and their strength was not weaker than the Xian family. On the Hunyuan sex list, it was recorded that the Lu family's patriarch was the Hunyuan sex inheritor. Furthermore, he was a silver inheritor. The Lu clan was considered one of the strongest forces above the Hunyuan sex inheritors. The moment Lu Ming moved, he was immediately noticed by those who had been paying attention to him at all times. Immediately, countless people followed Lu Ming from a distance. Where is Lu Ming going? This direction seems to be the direction to the Lu family. Could it be that Lu Ming is going to the Lu family? Many people were guessing. Now, it could be said that Lu Ming's every move touched people's hearts. The Lu family had also received the news long ago. The entire Lu family's higher-ups were alarmed. Some of the Lu family's elders who had been in seclusion came out one after another. The Lu family was in a tense atmosphere. Lu Ming wanted to come to the Lu family. What was he doing? Could it be that someone from the Lu family had offended Lu Ming? The higher-ups of the Lu family were extremely anxious. Lu Ming's speed was neither fast nor slow. Not long after, he arrived at the Lu residence. As soon as Lu Ming arrived, a large group of figures flew out from the Lu family. The ones leading them were all white-haired old men. They were all experts from the Lu family and there were more than 10 great emperors. Welcome, brother Lu Ming. I'm sorry for not coming out to welcome you. The head of the Lu family stepped forward and cupped his fists repeatedly. He was full of smiles and was very polite. Putting everything else aside, Lu Ming's ability alone was enough for him to be polite to him. Now, no one would treat Lu Ming as a young junior. Instead, they would treat him as a great emperor with unfathomable abilities. You're welcome. Lu Ming cupped his fists casually. I wonder what is the matter that little brother Lu Ming has come to the Lu family? The head of the Lu family asked tentatively. I want to see Lu Gao. Lu Ming went straight to the point. Lu Gao was the patriarch of the Lu family. You want to see the forefather? Master Liu's expression changed. What's wrong? Can't I? Lu Ming said. Of course, but the patriarch is in seclusion. We can go and inform him. Brother Lu Ming, why don't you come in and have a seat first? The head of the Lu family said. All right. Lu Ming nodded and followed the people from the Lu family into the Lu residence. The Lu family immediately served the fine wine and delicacies. Lu Ming smiled faintly. This was the change brought about by strength. If he had not fought with the Mu family, had not made a name for himself, and had no power, Lu Ming would have been killed by the Lu family's experts with one slap if he had rashly gone to the Lu family and asked to meet their ancestor. But now, the other party was going to serve him courteously, so all he had to do was wait. Lu Ming, Chiu Yu, and the rest chatted while they waited. They didn't have to wait for long before the Lu family's master and the others came over with an old man with a face full of wrinkles. This old man is Lu Gao. Greetings, little brother Lu. As soon as the old man arrived, he greeted him with a smile. This old man was the Lu family's patriarch, Lu Gao. He was also the Hunyuan sect's silver inheritor. It was obvious that he had heard about Lu Ming. That was why he was so polite. Senior is too polite. Lu Ming also smiled faintly. Brother Lu Ming, may I know why you've come to find me? Lu Gao asked, his eyes filled with doubt. Senior, do you remember what this is? A token appeared in Lu Ming's hand. It was the Hunyuan sect's golden inheritor token. Seeing this token, Lu Gao's expression suddenly changed, and he blurted out, Hunyuan sect's gold inheritor. Senior, do you still remember the oath you made back then? Lu Ming asked with a smile. Lu Gao's expression changed rapidly. With his cultivation, the oath from back then could not restrain him at all. He could completely break free from the shackles of the oath. However, the person in front of him was Lu Ming. He was a heaven's favorite with unparalleled talent who had just destroyed the Mu family, and he had several terrifying heavenly emperors behind him. He had to be cautious. Lu Gao naturally remembers the oath he made back then. With that, Lu Gao waved his hand, and a token appeared in his hand. It was the Hunyuan sect's silver-ranked inheritor token. Lu Ming did not say anything and waited for Lu Gao to continue. Lu Gao's eyes flickered, as if he was thinking. In the end, his eyes calmed down, as if he had made a decision. Chapter 2398 Killing Their Way to the Death God Nation. I've sensed the appearance of the Golden Inheritor decades ago. I didn't expect it to be you. Lu Gao. Greetings, young master. With that, Lu Gao cupped his fists and bowed deeply to Lu Ming. On the side, the Lu family's master and the others were dumbfounded. Senior, there's no need to be so polite. Please rise. Lu Ming revealed a smile. Lu Gao's action was equivalent to submitting to Lu Ming. What are you guys doing? From now on, our Lu family will follow young sect master's lead. If young sect master has any instructions in the future, the Lu family swears to follow you with our lives. Lu Gao looked at the Lu family's head and the others. So, it's the gold inheritor of Hunyuan sect. The higher-ups of the Lu family had already guessed what was going on. They looked at each other and then bowed to Lu Ming. If it was an ordinary heaven's favorite with the Hunyuan sect's gold inheritor token, they would have chased him out even if they did not kill him on the spot. However, Lu Ming was different. Lu Ming's talent was too shocking. Now that his abilities were extremely profound, his future was limitless. It was not a problem for the Lu family to submit to Lu Ming. Everyone, please rise. Lu Ming quickly helped the senior members of the Lu family up. Since the other party was willing to submit to him, he naturally saw his strength and potential. Naturally, he would not put on an overbearing appearance. It's fine as long as you all remember this. I still have to go somewhere else. Goodbye. With that, Lu Ming stepped into the air and left. After Lu Ming and the rest came out, many people started to make guesses. They did not know what had happened to Lu Ming and the Lu family. Lu Ming did not stop. Not long after, he left Aeon City and headed to his next destination. The Tianwen sect was a huge force in the land of the divine fate. Their strength was not inferior to the Lu family. One of the Tianwen sect's patriarchs was also the Hunyuan sect's silver inheritor. After Lu Ming arrived, everyone in the Tianwen sect was very polite to him. This trip was also very smooth, and the old ancestor of the Tianwen sect was willing to submit. The main thing was that he had killed a heavenly emperor in the Battle of Aeon City. This intimidating power was too strong, and those sects and forces did not dare to resist or disobey. If Lu Ming wanted to destroy them in a fit of anger, they would not be able to resist. Following that, Lu Ming visited one force after another according to the list. There were both big and small powers, and they were not limited to the divine mandate realm. There were other regions as well. Lu Ming spent a total of 3 months before he managed to visit all the forces. In the past 3 months, Lu Ming had almost traveled all over the Yuan continent. None of those forces dared to fight back. They all submitted to him obediently. In this way, Lu Ming's invisible power was already extremely terrifying and spread all over the Yuan continent. At that time, as long as Lu Ming waved his arms, powerful people would definitely gather and the world would be shaken. After settling these matters, Lu Ming returned to the Heavenly Emperor City and asked Xiao Yu to stay there. It's time to deal with the Death God Nation. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with a cold glint. He would never be at ease if he did not get rid of this force. He then brought Dandan, Bubbles, Earth One, and Thunder One back to the Divine Land. After arriving at the Divine Land, Lu Ming headed to a barren place according to the memory of the assassin from the Death God Nation that he had seen. Here, they found a remote teleportation array. Through this teleportation array, they arrived at a hidden cave. However, this was far from the end. They left the cave and found another teleportation formation in a hidden place tens of thousands of miles away. Just like that, they went through 9 teleportations in total. After the 9th teleportation, they finally arrived at their destination. On the ground, a huge square suddenly emitted a dazzling light. The figures of Lu Ming, Dandan, Bubbles, Earth One, and Thunder One appeared. Who are you people? As soon as Lu Ming and the rest appeared, they heard a cold shout. Lu Ming swept his gaze across the square and discovered a few figures looking at them in shock. The person who will kill you. Lu Ming said coldly and threw a punch. These few people had just entered the martial emperor realm. How could they withstand Lu Ming's punch? They were directly blasted into pieces. What a huge city. Lu Ming and the rest looked in front. In front of them, a huge city stood tall. On the city walls, there were pieces of shining stones, which gave this place a little light. The ancient city was underground. It was the headquarters of the Death God Nation, the ancient city in the memory of the assassins. They were now in a square in front of the ancient city's gate. Enemy attack. At this moment, a sharp cry came from the ancient city, startling the entire city. Buzz! 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 In the ancient city, there were black shadows constantly flashing. They were all assassins from the Death God Nation. Today, I will destroy the Death God Nation. Lu Ming was the first to step forward. The group of them moved quickly and arrived at the ancient city in an instant. There were no defensive formations on the ancient city. This was because no one had ever found one in the Death God Nation's countless years of history, so there was naturally no need for any defensive formations. They easily passed through the city wall. Kill! Kill them! As soon as they entered the ancient city, sharp sword lights shot at them from all directions. However, these sword beams stopped midway, frozen in midair by the Bubbles' spacetime laws. Let's go back. Bubbles waved her hand and the sword lights shot back at an even faster speed. Pft! 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 Blood splattered everywhere, and screams rang out. Dozens of assassins in black died on the spot, killed by their own sword lights. However, black shadows flickered in the ancient city, and more assassins were rushing over. 17 different types of light emanated from Lu Ming's body. These lights condensed into spear rays and shot out in all directions. At the same time, Bubbles and Dandan also made their moves, attacking in all directions. Pft! Pft! More and more assassins were killed, and their bodies fell to the ground like rain. The strongest of the assassins was only at the true Emperor realm. Naturally, they were no match for them and were killed in large numbers. Earth One and Thunder One didn't make a move. He had brought them here just in case. They didn't need to do anything to deal with these assassins. They kept moving forward like tigers in a flock of sheep. They killed more and more black-clothed assassins as they kept pushing toward the center of the city. "You guys, retreat!" A voice came from the center of the city. In an instant, the assassins in black retreated and disappeared without a trace. At the center of the city, a terrifying killing intent spread out. 1, 2, 3. There were more than 30 auras, each of which was extremely terrifying and exuded an extremely cold killing intent. Great Emperor. These auras belonged to Great Emperor realm experts. The Death God Nation was indeed terrifying. There were more than 30 Great Emperors as soon as they appeared, and they were even stronger than the MU family. Chapter 2400 Annihilate All, Buzz. Whoosh. In the depths of the Death God Nation's ancient city, more than 30 Great Emperors appeared. Lu Ming. When they saw Lu Ming's appearance, someone exclaimed in shock. More than 30 Great Emperors stopped in their tracks, their eyes filled with fear. They did not expect Lu Ming to be the one to kill his way here. The Death God Nation naturally knew about the battle at Aeon City. They never expected that Lu Ming would be able to find the headquarters of the Death God Nation. They looked at Earth One and Thunder One behind Lu Ming and were even more frightened. Leave this place. One of them roared and retreated. There were Heavenly Emperor powerhouses beside Lu Ming. How could they fight? They would only die if they went up to fight. Now, they only wanted to escape from this place. Senior Earth One, Senior Thunder One, they'll have to trouble you. Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Earth One and Thunder One. With so many Great Emperors, if he wanted to kill them all, he could only ask Earth One and Thunder One to help. "I alone am enough, let's go," Lei Yi said first. Then, he turned into a bolt of lightning and rushed out. Earth One laughed but didn't make a move. Zzzzzzzzz. After Lei Yi rushed out, the sky suddenly filled with endless lightning. Bolts of lightning, thicker than an arm, covered the sky like a spider web and shot towards the 30-odd Great Emperor assassins. These thunderbolts were naturally not ordinary thunderbolts. They were divine powers that Lei Yi had condensed with the heavenly Tao, and they were extremely powerful. Bang! Bang! The Great Emperor realm assassins were struck by the lightning and turned into ashes before they could even scream. Ordinary Great Emperors would be killed instantly by the Heavenly Emperor. More than 30 Great Emperor realm assassins were killed in an instant. "All of you, die." Lei Yi did not stop. He waved one hand and a ball of lightning appeared in the sky. This ball of lightning floated in the sky above the ancient city and then exploded into countless thunderbolts. Like raindrops, they bombarded the assassins in the ancient city. Bang! 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 In an instant, countless assassins in the ancient city were killed by the lightning and turned into ashes. There were countless assassins in the Death God Nation's headquarters, but at this moment, almost all of them were wiped out. Also, at this moment, a cold light flashed in Lei Yi's eyes as he headed deeper into the ancient city. Lu Ming and the rest followed him at top speed. Whoosh! 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 In the depths of the ancient city, there were 7 or 8 figures that were moving extremely fast. They were running in another direction at an extremely fast speed. Peak Emperor. Lu Ming was shocked. They were all peak Great Emperors. The power of the Death God Nation was terrifying. One had to know that even a major force like the MU family only had 2 peak Emperors. There were a total of 8 peak Great Emperors in the Death God Nation. Moreover, their speed was astonishing. If it was only Lu Ming and Dandan, they would not be able to stop them. But now, with Earth One, Thunder One, and the others here, it was different. "You still want to run in front of me?" Lei Yi sneered and took a step forward. His figure turned into a flash of lightning and rushed out. He rushed out in an instant and caught up with the other party. Zzzzzzzzz. Lightning filled Lei Yi's hand, forming a spear of lightning that pierced through. Quickly destroy that crystal pagoda. At this time, one of the 8 people shouted. Bang! The next moment, the 8 of them were pierced by the lightning spears. Although the 8 of them were peak great emperors, they were completely useless against a heavenly emperor's attack. A few of them let out ear-piercing shrieks as a black shadow twisted violently in their bodies. There was a third eye in the middle of the black shadow's eyebrows. Evil God Tribe. At the sight of this black shadow, Ming was shocked. In an instant, he thought of many things. Back then, the evil spirit religion and the demon spirit religion were also founded by the evil god race. It was obvious that the death god nation was the same as the evil spirit religion and the demon spirit religion. They were all created by the evil god race. No wonder they often assassinated the experts and proud children of heaven in the primordial realm. The figures twisted a few times before turning into ashes and dissipating. The Crystal Pagoda. The next moment, Ming thought of the Crystal Pagoda. Before the evil god tribe's expert died, he shouted, quickly destroy that Crystal Pagoda. For an expert of the evil god tribe to still think about it even before his death, that Crystal Pagoda must be very important. Find that Crystal Pagoda. Ming shouted. I found it. Bubble spoke. Then, she waved her hands and a space-time tunnel appeared in the air. On the other side of the space-time tunnel was a 3-meter-tall crystal tower. It was shining and covered in all sorts of runes. 2 assassins in black were heading toward the Crystal Pagoda at top speed. They were obviously going to destroy it. In front of this old master, don't even think about it. Zzzzzzzzz. Lei Yi rushed through the space-time tunnel. 2 bolts of lightning burst out and killed the 2 men in black. Following that, Ming, Dandan, Bubbles, and 2E also rushed over through the space-time tunnel and arrived at the Crystal Pagoda. The Crystal Pagoda was covered in symbols and was extremely colorful. What is this? Ming looked at it carefully and was somewhat puzzled. Could it be the base of a great formation? So it's this kind of thing. Dandan touched her chin and revealed a thoughtful look. Dandan, do you know what this is? Ming asked curiously. Of course I do. This is the most ancient tool for transmitting information. It has almost been lost. It seems like the evil god tribe still has this tool for transmitting information. Dandan said. A tool to send messages? Ming's eyes lit up. Dandan, he said, can you interpret the information inside? The evil god tribe's information transmitting tool was something that they valued so much. There might be some incredible information inside. Young master, I'll go and deal with the rest. Lei Yi's figure flickered and he left the place. As for Dandan, she was wandering around the Crystal Pagoda and began to study it. After a while, Lei Yi returned. Apparently, he had killed all the assassins and brought back all their storage rings. This was an extremely huge harvest. The Death God Nation had accumulated so many resources over the years and they were shockingly abundant. All of them now belonged to Ming. Ming kept all of them. In the future, if the Dragon Alliance wanted to develop, it would definitely need a huge amount of resources. The more they accumulated, the better. Dandan continued to study it. After a few hours, Dandan finally began to work. Runes entered the Crystal Pagoda one after another. Open. After Dandan circled the crystal tower 360 times, she let out a low growl and took a step forward. Countless runes covered the crystal tower. Buzz. The Crystal Pagoda buzzed and glowed brightly. Then, information began to spread out from the Crystal Pagoda. It was very strange. They stood by the Crystal Pagoda and could clearly access the information. In fact, there were even images emerging. This is, when Ming came into contact with some information, his pupils suddenly widened and he was shocked. Chapter 2401, A Huge Secret. when he saw the information and pictures in the crystal pagoda, Lu Ming was shocked. Lu Ming was not the only one. Dandan, Bubbles, Earth One, and Thunder One were also greatly shocked and had looks of disbelief on their faces. From the information in the crystal pagoda, they learned that the alien race was going to open a huge passage to the primordial realm. Yes, this plan had been going on for many years. A picture emerged from the crystal pagoda. In this picture, there was an unknown area where countless foreign races gathered. They were setting up a large array, and the foundation of this large array was a pile of white bones. With these bones as the foundation, a huge passage was opened. Chirp, chirp, chirp. Upon seeing this picture, Bubbles kept on crying out, appearing to be very sad, angry, and anxious. The bone banner of the space-time spirit rat. Damn it, the last generation of the space-time spirit rat's bone banner was obtained by a foreign tribe and used to open a passage. Dandan also let out an angry roar. The bone insect of the time and space spirit mouse. Lu Ming understood everything. It seemed that the body of the previous generation spacetime spirit rat had fallen into the hands of a foreign race. The spacetime spirit mouse could control spacetime. It had reached an extreme level in the use of spacetime. Every drop of blood and every strand of hair on its body was related to spacetime. It was indeed possible for the alien races to open a huge and stable passage in the boundless void with the bone banner of the spacetime spirit rats, which could allow a large number of alien races to pass through. The destination of this passage was the primordial realm. Where is it? Lu Ming grew anxious and continued to read the information in the crystal pagoda. Not long after, they made a discovery. On a huge island, the figures of men in black flickered. In the sky, there was a huge vortex. It was obvious that the people of the Death God Nation were working with the evil God tribe to open a passage in the primordial realm. It's overseas. Not long after, they finally arrived at the specific location. It was not in the Yuan continent but overseas. This crystal pagoda actually hid such a secret. No wonder that foreign race wanted to destroy it even when he was dying. Lu Ming and the rest were secretly afraid. If the alien races opened this passage, the army would invade, and the primordial realm would be finished. Once the primordial realm was over, the Taiqing heavenly region would also be in danger. They only stopped after carefully examining the information in the crystal pagoda. Let's go. Well, kill the people of the Death God Nation first, and then inform the experts of the heaven realm. Let the heaven realm send people to guard there. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with cold murderous intent. He was secretly afraid. Fortunately, they had discovered him. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. Kill, we must kill them, chirp chirp. Bubbles cried out as well, dancing with joy and a fierce look on her face. The previous generation spacetime spirit mouse was equivalent to Bubbles' mother. But now, after its death, its bones were being used for this kind of torture. It would be strange if she wasn't filled with killing intent. After the plan was made, they immediately left and flew north. According to the information they had obtained, the destination of the foreign tribe's passageway was the endless sea in the north of the Yuan continent. That place, like the divine wilderness continent, was called the Barren Land. However, that place was not as remote as the divine wilderness continent, nor was it as far away from the Yuan continent as the divine wilderness continent. Earth One and Thunder One brought Lu Ming, Dandan, and Bubbles and rushed towards the north of the Yuan continent. With their heavenly emperor realm cultivation, their speed was too fast. Not long after, they left the Yuan continent and came to the boundless sea. They followed the sea and headed north. 2 days later, they finally neared their destination. In front of them was an incomparably huge island. Rather than calling it an island, it could be said that it was a continent. A continent that was similar to the divine wilderness continent, but its surface area was even larger than the divine wilderness continent. However, compared to the Yuan continent, it was like an island. In the sky above the island, a huge vortex was suspended there, covering the entire island. From this, it could be seen just how huge this passageway would be once it was opened. In an instant, countless evil god tribe members would be able to flood in. From a distance, they could see many black shadows flashing on the island. They were all assassins from the Death God Nation. From the looks of it, that passageway should not have been opened yet. The Death God Nation is working with the evil god tribe to open the passageway as soon as possible. Dandan said in a low voice. Let's attack. Well, kill the people of the Death God Nation first, and then destroy the Great Formation here. Ming said. The others all nodded. Buzz. Buzz. They moved. They didn't hide their figures anymore and rushed toward the island. In a few breaths, they were close to the island. There's someone. Not good, I've been discovered. Kill them. More than 1,000 men in black rose into the sky from the island and launched an attack on Ming and the rest. Whoosh. Whoosh. Thousands of sword gleams shot toward Ming and the rest from all directions like raindrops. Die, die. Lei shouted coldly and struck out with his palm. Endless thunderbolts formed in the air like a spider web and rushed towards the black-clothed men. Those men in black couldn't resist at all and were killed immediately. From a distance, thousands of men in black fell to the ground like thousands of mosquitoes. Kill. Ming shouted coldly and dashed into the island. This island was really huge, as big as a continent. There were countless assassins from the Death God Nation on this island, and it was obvious that all the other creatures on this island had been killed by them. As Ming and the group went deeper, men in black rushed out from all over the island. Humans of the primordial realm, kill. All of a sudden, a series of loud roars rang out. From the depths of the island, a group of burly figures rushed toward Ming and the rest. Their auras were extremely shocking. Great Emperor. There were at least a few dozen Great Emperors charging toward them. The most shocking thing was that these Great Emperors were all from the evil god race. How could there be so many evil god tribesmen in the primordial realm? Not good. It's very likely that the passageway has already been slightly torn apart. That's why some of the evil god tribe members have entered. Dandan's expression changed and became extremely serious. If that was the case, then the passageway was not far from being completely opened. In an instant, the members of the evil god race had already charged over. Die. The Great Desolation Spear appeared in Ming's hand. With a shake of the Great Desolation Spear, rays of spear light flew out and killed a few Great Emperor-level foreign tribe cultivators. At the same time, Earth One and the rest also made their move. With the two heavenly monarchs attacking, great sovereigns were no match for them and were constantly killed. However, from the depths of the island, more and more figures flew out. They were all from the evil god race, and there were so many of them that it was shocking. From their auras, there were actually more than 100 Great Emperor realm experts. The number was still increasing, and there were quite a few peak Great Emperors. No matter how many come, kill them all. Earth One's eyes were filled with killing intent. The meteor hammer appeared in his hand and gave off a terrifying aura. Boom! The meteoric hammer suddenly blasted out, like a planet smashing forward. Chapter 2402 Crisis. The meteor hammer was a Heaven Dao soldier and was extremely terrifying. When activated by Earth One, its power was even more shocking. This strike was like a huge star smashing out. If it hit the ground, the island would be shattered. A Heaven Dao soldier, it's the Celestial Emperor. Not good. The faces of the evil god race members changed as they retreated rapidly. However, their speed was not as fast as the meteor hammer. The meteor hammer was about to hit them. People of the primordial realm, how dare you kill our race's powerhouses? You're courting death. At this moment, a loud roar came from the depths of the island. Then, a huge palm stretched out from the depths of the island. The palm was covered in pitch-black scales that blocked out the sky and the sun. It collided with the meteor hammer. Boom! It was as if the end of the world had arrived. After an incomparably violent boom, the meteor hammer actually trembled and was struck back by this palm. However, the palm was completely fine. After exchanging a blow with the Heaven Dao soldier, his palm did not show any signs of abnormality, not even a scale falling off. The hand retracted, and a figure suddenly appeared in the sky. This was an evil god tribe member, and his entire body was covered in black scales. From the looks of it, he seemed like an ordinary member of the evil god race. However, his body size was very different from that of an ordinary member of the evil god race. The ordinary members of the evil god race were all tall and burly. However, this evil god race member's body was similar to that of an ordinary person's, and it was well proportioned and slender. Apart from the scales all over his body and the third eye between his brows, he was no different from a human. However, his aura was extremely terrifying and powerful. Not good, it's a peerless expert. Earth One's expression changed drastically as he shouted. There was actually a peerless expert here. Only existences above the 4-star Heavenly Emperor level could be called peerless experts. Kill, die. The evil god tribe's peerless powerhouse shouted coldly. He waved his hand, and his palm rapidly grew in size, pressing down on 2E. At the same time, a destructive light burst out from his third eye, turning into a destructive battle sword that slashed down on Lu Ming and the others. Earth One erupted with all his strength and controlled the meteor hammer to strike. As for Lei Yi, he opened his mouth and spat out a combat sword that was shining with lightning. It exuded a terrifying aura and attacked the evil god tribe. This was Lei Yi's Heaven Dao soldier. The Primal Chaos Palace had left behind 2 Heaven Dao soldiers. One was with Thunder One and the other with Gold One. Boom! Boom! With 2 consecutive terrifying rumbles, Lei Yi and 2E were actually blocked and could not do anything to each other. Heaven Dao soldiers, 2 Heaven Dao soldiers. Ha ha ha, my luck isn't bad, they're all mine. The evil god tribe's peerless expert laughed and unleashed his full power as he charged toward Earth One and Thunder One. Earth One and Thunder One also unleashed their full strength and engaged in a great battle with the other party. However, it was difficult to determine the victor in a short time. The 2 of them were entangled and unable to escape. Young master, you guys should leave quickly. Earth One roared. This time, it was impossible for them to destroy the other party. Things had gone beyond their expectations. The alien race had already torn a hole in the passage. Not only were there a large number of experts entering, but there was even a peerless expert. This peerless expert had the cultivation of a 4-star Heavenly Emperor and was extremely powerful. Earth One and Thunder One's cultivation was at 2-star Celestial Emperor. Even with the help of the Heaven Dao soldiers, the 2 of them could only barely protect themselves when facing each other. And this was when the other party didn't have Heaven Dao soldiers. If they did, they would be dead for sure. The only thing they could do now was to stall the other party and let Lu Ming and the rest escape so that they could pass the news to the Heaven Realm. Earth One, Thunder One, Lu Ming roared. Let's go, young master. We must leave. The news here must be spread. Don't worry about us. We have our own ways to escape. Lei also shouted. Let's go. Lu Ming gritted his teeth. He no longer hesitated and turned to leave. However, at this moment, a large group of the evil god race had already surrounded them and were charging toward them with attacks. Kill. Lu Ming's eyes were bloodshot and he kept sweeping his long spear. Bang! Bang! Those who were swept by Lu Ming's long spear exploded immediately. No matter if they were true emperors or great emperors. Brat, die! An unusually burly member of the evil god race held a battle axe and exchanged a blow with Lu Ming. A terrifying force gushed over. Lu Ming's body trembled and he could not help but retreat. Peak Emperor. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. With Lu Ming's current combat strength, he could fight against a 6-star Great Emperor, but he was definitely no match for a peak Great Emperor. In addition, Dandan and Bubbles had also encountered strong enemies. Bubbles' cultivation had yet to break through to the Great Emperor realm. In such a battle, he would not be of much use. He stood on Lu Ming's shoulder and assisted him. On the other hand, Dandan was surrounded by several peak Great Emperors. However, Dandan's battle power was extremely strong and she completely suppressed the peak Emperors, forcing them to retreat. Buzz! All of a sudden, Dandan gave up on attacking. In a flash, she rushed toward Lu Ming and sent the evil god tribe member who was attacking Lu Ming flying with a single move. He spat out a large mouthful of blood. Lu Ming, follow me. We're going out, die. Dandan shouted as he charged forward. Every time he attacked, it was like a world was being blasted out. Even peak emperors couldn't stop him. Bang! Bang! A few peak great emperors were sent flying and spat out blood. Everyone, stop them. Don't let them escape. The peerless expert of the evil god tribe shouted. Kill! Kill them! A large group of evil god tribe members rushed over and attacked Lu Ming and the others without any regard for their lives. Spacetime. Bubbles' small hands kept waving, trying to seal off the spacetime and stop those foreign races. It was a pity that Bubbles' cultivation base was too weak. He could block those below Great Emperor, but he could not block those above Great Emperor, especially those advanced Great Emperors. The other party struggled with all its might and broke free from the Bubbles' spacetime power. The peak Great Emperors ignored the Bubbles' spacetime power and continued to attack Lu Ming and the others. There were too many of them. Although Dandan's combat strength was strong and she could crush experts of the same level, there were too many of them. She couldn't take the continuous attacks. At least 10 peak Great Emperors were attacking Dandan. Their path was blocked and it was difficult for them to get out. Boom! 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 At this moment, the vortex above the island let out a deafening roar. It seemed that someone was trying to break the passage and come here. Lu Ming and the rest were anxious. If even more powerful evil god tribe members came, they would really be finished. Roar! Dandan roared loudly and transformed into her true form, her attack power even stronger. Pfft! One of the peak emperors from the evil god tribe was struck by Dandan and was instantly annihilated. However, at the same time, dozens of attacks fell on Dandan. These attacks were all from 6-star Great Emperors and even peak Great Emperors. No matter how strong Dandan's defense was, she couldn't take it and was forced to retreat. Chapter 2403 Frenzied Borrowing. Kill the 2 weak ones first, kill. Someone from the evil god race shouted. Instantly, 2 peak Great Emperor evil god race members went around Dandan and charged toward Lu Ming and Pow Pow. Before they even reached Lu Ming, 2 terrifying beams of destructive light were already heading for him. Lu Ming exerted all his strength and 17 types of laws covered his entire body. His muscles trembled non-stop and he swept out the Great Desolation Spear. Boom! Boom! The 2 beams of destructive light bombarded the Great Desolation Spear. The Great Desolation Spear trembled violently and the power of law on it was destroyed. The 2 beams of energy surged over. Lu Ming's body shook violently and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Wounds appeared on his body and blood flowed out. Lu Ming was no match for 2 peak Great Emperors and was injured in one move. Fortunately, Lu Ming's defense was amazing and he had used the indestructible ancient scroll. His injuries were healing rapidly and it did not affect his combat strength much. What do we do? Lu Ming's mind was racing. He was no match for a peak emperor. As for the heavenly emperor corporeal body, there wasn't much energy stored in it. If he wanted to deal with a peak great emperor, the energy in the heavenly emperor corporeal body had to reach 100%. Otherwise, it would be useless. Under such circumstances, even if celestial emperor's corporeal bodhis energy reached 100%, it would still be useless. There were too many foreign races. At this moment, there were almost 20 peak great emperors, and there were even more great emperors of other levels. Deep in the island, alien races were still coming. It was as if an army of alien races was stationed on this island. Lu Ming still had the fallen star bow. However, his cultivation was only at the true emperor realm. Even if he used the fallen star bow, it would not be of much use. In addition, Lu Ming still had the divine nine-dragon cauldron. Unfortunately, the energy of the divine nine-dragon cauldron seemed to have been exhausted after the previous battle. All these years, there was no movement at all, and Lu Ming could not control it. Now, he only had one trump card, and that was the third bloodline. In the past, he didn't dare to use the third bloodline as it was too evil and seemed to have endless power. However, every time he used the power of the third bloodline, he felt as if he would be eroded by it and become a killing puppet. However, he had no choice but to use it today. Otherwise, they would all have to stay here. They needed someone to escape and spread the news. Otherwise, it would affect the safety of the Tian Yuan world and Lu Ming's family and friends. Come on. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with a hint of ruthlessness. With a thought, his third bloodline appeared. A wave of energy gushed out from the third bloodline and surged into Lu Ming's body. Kill, kill, kill. Roars rang out in Lu Ming's mind, and a cold killing intent emanated from him. His eyes and hair had turned blood red. Whoosh! Whoosh! Lu Ming thrust his spear twice, and two spear gleams collided with the two peak Great Emperor Realm Evil God tribe members. With two loud bangs, Lu Ming's body swayed and he took a few steps back. However, he had also blocked the attacks of the two Evil God tribe members. What is this? Doubt and sullenness flashed in the eyes of the two Evil God tribe members. Lu Ming's strength suddenly increased explosively, making them feel puzzled. Not enough, it's still not enough. Again. Lu Ming growled in his heart. The energy in his third bloodline continued to surge into Lu Ming's body, making his killing intent even stronger. Kill, kill. Lu Ming shouted and charged at the two Evil God tribe members. This time, Lu Ming's strength had increased greatly and he could completely suppress the two members of the Evil God tribe. Bang! Bang! The two members of the Evil God race were sent flying by Lu Ming. However, they were not seriously injured and only suffered minor injuries. Not enough, it's still not enough. Lu Ming roared in his heart. Today, borrowing a little bit of power was far from enough. He had to have overwhelming power to escape. Boom! The third bloodline was like a boundless sea of blood, filled with boundless power. At this moment, the sea of blood churned and waves of energy gushed into Lu Ming's body. Blood mist continued to spread out from Lu Ming's body. There were even bone spikes that appeared on his body. Lu Ming's appearance became extremely ferocious. The bubble was shocked and flew away from Lu Ming's body. Brother Lu Ming. Bubbles was extremely anxious. Bubbles had seen Lu Ming's appearance before. At that time, Lu Ming almost lost himself and became a killing puppet. Bubble, leave quickly. Lu Ming roared. At this moment, his will was severely challenged. His heart was filled with endless killing intent. He only retained a trace of will to control himself. Roar. Then, Lu Ming let out a roar and rushed toward Dandan. At this moment, Lu Ming simply put away the Great Desolation Spear, because his claws had become extremely sharp. Kill. Lu Ming roared and clawed at a peak emperor of the non-human race. Pfft. This non-human emperor was unable to resist at all. His attack and defense were destroyed by Lu Ming. Then, Lu Ming grabbed his body and tore him in half. Then, Lu Ming charged toward the other alien races. Sacred Ancestor Bloodheart. It's Sacred Ancestor Bloodheart. Sacred Ancestor Bloodheart is still alive. Ha ha ha. We must capture that kid. In the sky, an extremely excited voice came from the other side of the passage. Then, the passage began to shake crazily. The wind and clouds changed color, as if it was going to be torn apart at any time. As for the alien races, they became even more frenzied when they heard the voice. They kept charging at Lu Ming. Die, die. Lu Ming's eyes were bloodshot. His claws were like knives as he pounced. Pft! Pft! Lu Ming tore the alien races apart one by one. Even a peak emperor couldn't stop Lu Ming. Those below the peak emperor realm couldn't even withstand a single blow and were killed by Lu Ming in groups. Dandan, Bubble, charge out with me. Lu Ming roared and charged forward with all his might. Wherever he passed, the alien races were killed continuously, and he carved out a bloody path. At this moment, the bubble flew to Dandan. Dandan carried her and followed behind Lu Ming, charging out together. Don't even think about leaving. The unparalleled expert who was fighting with Earth 1 and Thunder 1 shouted coldly. He wanted to give up on Earth 1 and Thunder 1 and attack Lu Ming. However, Earth 1 and Thunder 1 burst forth with no regard for their lives, pushing the power of the Heaven Dao soldiers to the extreme and holding on tightly to the other party. It was not easy for the other party to escape in a short time. Sila. At this moment, a loud boom came from the passage in the sky. Then, an opening was forcefully opened. One could see that there were two hands on both sides of the opening. They tore it open with all their might, and the opening slowly grew larger, turning into a spatial rift. Boom! A towering figure suddenly rushed out of the crack and appeared in the sky above the island. The towering figure was burly and covered in purple scales. It exuded a terrifying aura. The Celestial Emperor. This was a heavenly emperor-level powerhouse. Although this foreign being was not as powerful as the peerless powerhouse, he was indeed a powerhouse of the heavenly emperor realm. Not good. The expressions of 2E, Lei E, and Dandan changed drastically. You're tuning into the Biyao's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.